change your name and you get invited back on the podcast.
It happens. All right, I think we're good.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about me?
Good.
Mic
It's all
check.
working.
Okay.
Well, shit, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah. Thanks for having
How
me
many
on.
times have you been on the podcast now? Can you remember?
There's no way I could remember.
Yeah.
At least 6, 7, 8,
I would think
maybe 8.
maybe closer to 10, maybe 8. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Definitely been a lot now. Because there's been
Yeah.
a handful with other people.
Mhm.
Did with Garley. Did the
100th episode.
The one with Nick.
Nick.
And then 3 right there with just
at
joining
least
in.
we did the one whenever. Remember when the Pan America and all that shit got released? We did that podcast.
Yeah, we did. That was one.
Yeah.
That was another one at my house. I didn't have to drive.
You still complaining about that? No, that's cool.
I made it on time this time.
That's good. So would you end up going to see Jessup this weekend and Dusty up there at Dream Rods, or what was that deal about?
I was sick of my truck. I had it for 2 years, and I don't think I've ever had a vehicle, or like a 4-wheel vehicle for over a year. So it's time to get rid of it. So I started looking for a new daily, I guess.
Yeah.
And got stuck on wanting a wagon, and all the old wagons, just too much money for too bad a condition, too hard to find a clean one. So I found.
Were you looking at like a Caprice wagon or something like that?
Something like that, like either G-body or even.
That'd be sick.
Even like a little earlier, but like I said, it's just hard to find one clean, and I didn't want to beat her, and I didn't need a project because I'm still working on building the Cadillac. So then I just found that Magnum, and it's super clean, and it was outside of Atlanta. So I hit the dude up, and he said he'd hold it for me till Friday. Bought a plane ticket, flew out there. They're only 3 hours north of Atlanta. So after I picked it up, went up there, hung out with them all day Saturday, and stayed at Dusty's and came back on Sunday. So, yeah, I've been wanting to get out there, so that was kind of like the perfect excuse.
This is your first time going to the shop?
Yeah, I hadn't been out there yet.
For real?
I've been wanting to get out there since they opened, since Dusty went out there, but I just haven't been able to make it out. It's hard to, it doesn't seem like it's that far, but it's almost 1,000 miles. So
yeah, I mean, if you take, it's like right at $1,000 if you take 20 to like Birmingham and then up, but if you take what is it, fucking 40 for like 30 to 40 from here, it's like 800-900 miles.
Yeah, so. It was 900 from Dusty's house to my house. So, like I said, it doesn't seem that far away. So I've been wanting to go, but I'm like, dude, you need like a 4-day weekend for that. If I actually want to hang out,
full day ride, or drive.
Either way, ride or drive. That's a full day to get there, full day to get back. So, I've been wanting to check that place out, and obviously it's amazing. I mean, I don't think Jessup does anything half-assed. So
his place is set up like it still has porn store vibes to it.
A little bit. I don't know. I didn't really catch too much.
Really
except for like there's a mannequin or two, but
it's like a perfect setup, man.
It really is. It's it's super nice.
And the writing that's like right there behind it is superb, and I don't know. It seems awesome right there.
I mean, they got me sold. I checked that place out. It is awesome. I know the area, and I know it's awesome. And I was staying, like I said, I stayed with Dusty. And he kind of showed me around town and everything. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to move out there. I mean, I was before when Jessup was first opening, but family wasn't really on board. But now I'm for real trying to get out there, though.
Yeah,
I'm so sick of Texas.
What makes you sick of it, though? Because I'm probably going to agree with you on a lot of things, but I want to see where your head is at it.
Oh, man, there's a lot of reasons why I'm sick of Texas. Mostly, there's just way too many people.
It's getting that way.
It's way past that way. The traffic is just insane everywhere. The infrastructure can't handle all the people. That's one reason. The other reason is the cost of living in the past 10 years since I've been living here has more than doubled, and at least the pay in my world has barely changed.
Yeah.
Because all these – we can go right into that then.
Yeah.
I mean – that's the main reason why I was so sick of my job and stuff and sick of Texas is all these companies come to Texas because we got cheap labor. We got no union. So, and it's known for having cheap labor. So you get all these companies coming.
They get a lot of incentives, too, and tax breaks.
Like the place I was working at, they didn't have to pay taxes for something like 5-10 years if they'd move their plant here. Well, 8 years ago when they opened, when I started, it was decent. It was pretty good pay at the time, honestly.
Yeah.
But in those 8 years, like I said, I mean, my home value's gone up 2.5, from what I bought it at 8 years ago. And cost of living just through the roof. And it's not just the whole pandemic thing. It's been going up out here just because too many people are moving.
Yeah.
But they don't want to pay no more because they opened up a plant out here to pay little. So it's just... It doesn't work. Our taxes are going up because so many more people come.
Yeah, the property
These
values.
corporations, they don't have to pay taxes though. Like I said, they're giving them these tax breaks. So who's paying to build all these new roads, schools, all this stuff? It's all property tax, and it's making Texas just almost unlivable. And they want to pay, like I said, welder pay is absolutely ridiculous out here. I mean, it's pretty much it's on board almost with like getting paid at a grocery store or Buc-ee's or Chick-fil-A, and it's like, I ain't trying to fucking weld for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Me and Matt were just talking about this because, obviously right now in America, there's like they call it the great, there's a term that like economists are using, great, what's the word?
Is it
resignation? Yeah, okay. The Great Resignation, where a lot of people are quitting their jobs just.
Well, this is what kind of pushed me, because I guess for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, I've been a welder my whole life. All I did before that, I worked in restaurants when I was younger till I was about like 20. That's when I started welding. All I've done since then. And I always planned to just do it forever. But like I said, the pay wasn't, I was just sick of the pay. Like, they're just, the only way you make money welding is really you go travel. Like, you do the pipeline, you do shutdowns and stuff like that. And then, you can make money. But if you want to stay local, you ain't getting paid anything good. And so I was just sick of my job. And I seen a bunch of other people even. Like, where the plant I was at, we were losing over 30 people a month.
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot. We only have 400 people. So that's a lot of people. And that's every month this year we've lost over 30 people. So... yeah, I was talking to like one of my other friends because I was really thinking about leaving, and he had quit like 4 or 5 months before me, and he was starting. He had a little side business, and he's like, I'm gonna try and see if I can just make it doing it. It's just lawn care stuff, like commercial lawn care, and he's like, see if I can do this full time. And his reasoning was, which kind of got me. He's like, dude, now's the time, because he's like, it's not like you can't find a job. He's because I was like, yeah, if I leave and I go try something else, it's the same for just about anyone. Everyone, every single business is hiring. So if you want to try something new, like I changed careers, and it's like you could try it. If it doesn't work, everyone's hiring. Not like one of those times where, okay, I don't want to leave this good job because where else am I going to work? I try this. If it don't work in 6 months, I'm like, I'm not making the money. I don't like it, or whatever it is. I could always just go back to welding because literally everyone is hiring.
I think it's maybe also easier for a guy like you to do that because you have an established skill and experience with that. But But it doesn't even matter because, I mean, like I said, just everyone is hiring. So
Yeah, but you also have that will to learn something new.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of people want to try something else, even if either they hate their job and they're going to it, or they don't even hate it. But like, it's like you just always. I feel like I've always wanted to try other things, but I mean, I was just too comfortable. That's why I never quit my job. I was just had been there too long. Like there's like 10 people been there longer than me, so I knew like I couldn't get laid off.
Yeah,
it's just easy. I know how much my paycheck's gonna be every week and stuff. Didn't get paid great, but it was easy, reliable. Like I knew what it was, and you go out being somewhere 8 years. That's the longest time I've been somewhere. It gets scary being a new guy again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm about to be 35 years old and start off either as a new guy at another shop or changing careers like 35 years old, like, asking the dumb questions, like as if you're 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
But, I mean, why not? Like I said, I mean, this is the time to do it because who knows, the economy could bounce back and you are not bounce back. I don't say the economy is bad, but, like, the job market could go to shit in year, 2 years. And it's like, this is just the opportunity to try something new. And, I mean, I've been trying to get everyone I know to do it because I love it. I got no regrets.
Yeah.
And
whenever me and you first started talking about this topic a couple weeks ago, it's I've mentioned on this podcast for years since we started how eventually I do want to move into another space for a main source of income and still paint you know, sporadically.
Yeah.
You know, paint to stay up to date with it, but not like I'm painting 4 bikes this month and 3 helmets and doing fucking 5 podcasts. Like I want to get to that point where the main thing is doing podcasts and creating content for this, and then a helmet or a bike project here and there to do for SEMA or Sturgis or, you know, a friend or something like that. But it's scary, you know, because like you just said, like being 35 and wanting to start over, you know, I'm 39 going in 40, right? So I'm looking at, even though I've established a podcast and it produces an income for me, it's still scary. I don't trust it.
Yeah.
It's not like a guaranteed paycheck. I say one wrong word on here and everybody on Patreon dips out and fucking, you know, my sponsor's like, well, I just didn't like the way you said that.
Yeah.
And then bam, I have no income. You know what I mean? So it's a scary thing to trust. But
the key to that, I think, is you just learn to live off of no income.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I didn't get paid great before. I took over a 50% pay cut changing careers. And basically I don't make money. But, you know, we set our lives up for this. I mean, I was wanting to kind of not necessarily change careers, but not have to rely on anything, have our house paid off and anything by the time my kids graduate, which the youngest graduates in 7 years. So we're already on that road. Like, we have no debt except for a house, which only has a few years. So it's easy for us to kind of...
You have a lot of assets in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, I've been able to... I sold out some stuff to kind of change careers because I had to get tools and everything because I switched. I'm working as a mechanic now.
What kind of tools did you get?
Snap-on. What?
That's an old... Remember I used to tell you about that shit back in the day? Like...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still don't know if I'd ever justify it at home, but I mean, there is most definitely a difference and stuff. And also, like, you know, let's talk about Mark. It's just the difference of showing up looking professional or not, or like, you know, you're willing to invest in yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, I sold the Goldwing, I sold some of my FXR stash and stuff, and I bought, you know, I spent a pretty ridiculous amount of money on tools. Not all Snap-on, but like, you know, just trying to get... I didn't want to take all my tools from home and not be able to work at home, especially because it's not a bike shop, so it's not like I could just roll a bike up there and start working on it. So I needed a whole nother set of tools. But aside from that, like I said, I mean, we can live off of so little because we have so few bills, and it makes it a little bit easier. But at the same time, I will have to make more money eventually. This can't be forever. But I'm making like the same amount I made when I was like 17. But, you know, I don't have any regrets. It's been way more enjoyable. I'm not hating life. So that shit was kind of bleeding into my outside of work life. Just hating going to your job every day. Like, I know you've never worked for a corporation like that, but man, that shit gets old, dude. When like the people say you're just a number and like you're for real just a number. Like I said, I've been there longer than almost everyone else there, and it don't make no difference. Like it's weird. It's hard to say if you've never been there, where it's just they don't care at all.
Well, that was one of the things they've been talking about with this whole Great Resignation, is that people want to work for a place that they feel valued. They want to feel like they're being, like, they want to feel like their work matters. And I know that, like, welding, I mean, you're creating something in a sense when you guys were building the cars, basically, right? Locomotives. I mean, isn't it like the ones with the engines in it, or the Carriers? Or
the one I was at for 8 years, we built that locomotives. Before that, I built actually rail cars.
Okay.
I did that for a few years too. But,
so, I mean,
but it doesn't. The problem is, it's like, you're building something, but it don't feel like that after a while. Because I mean, it's just an assembly line. You build what you build, and the bigger thing is, it's like you can, at a job like that, you can bust your ass every day, or you could do nothing, and nobody cares. And like, for some people, if you're the kind of guy who doesn't want to do anything, that's fine. You know, it's like you just go in, you clock in. Like, it's not demanding at all. It's the easiest job. But if you're the kind of person who works hard and you bust your ass for 8 years or whatever, and it's not even like you need, like, a raise would be nice, but a raise or a pat on the back, it's just the fact that if you ask the boss, he doesn't even know who works hard and who does. Like, no, you're doing it just for yourself. And that shit just, it gets draining. You're like, dude, like, I want to work hard, but I'm not. But you're working hard for what? Nothing. We all get paid the exact same amount. Yeah. And it's just like, it just starts making you lose motivation and everything.
I understand what you're saying. So it's like, I think I had a thing I was going to add to that, but kind of lost it there. Yeah, it seems like that's, for me, I've always looked at it like if you have like, goals. Like if you feel like you're achieving a goal within your career, like, okay, like your boss comes out and says, hey, look, we need to knock out this much stuff here, and if we can get this done, then bam, we can all get a bonus or a situation or something.
Yeah.
Or like if we can do this much in this year, then we'll be given an allowance or something for a raise for everybody. So like when you have goals within your structure of a business or just in your life, it makes it a lot easier to stay out of your head and be depressed and be fucking, unmotivated because you have something you want to actually achieve.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of companies, there's no goal. The goal is get your ass to work on time and, look busy.
That's it. Yeah. Just look busy. And I can't do the look busy. I can fuck off and I can work, but I can't do the look busy shit. And that's a lot of those kind of jobs. That's all they want. You can stand there and do nothing, but if you look like you're doing something, and I'm like, dude, I can't pretend to work. Yeah. Like it's not me. And that's what that is. Yeah, they just want you to stand there with like your chipping hammer and just like pretend to be just chipping all day long. It's like, bro, that shit drains my soul. Like, I'm like, I'll work. Give me some fucking work. But I'm like, if you ain't got no work for me, don't expect me to pretend to be working.
Did you have like much of a problem solving aspect to the job?
And
when you think like a problem solving, right? So like mechanics do a problem solving a lot. Yeah. Like they have to figure out why this is this way or figure out a better way to solve this issue.
In one sense, I mean, because like I said, it's production. So, like, I mean, me and Dusty talked about this a lot. Like, he was a welder too, pipeline, and how it's like the only thing you got to think about while you're welding, if you're doing like the same kind of welds all the time, like he did the same exact weld pretty much on the pipeline, but mine was the same kind of welds all the time. You're just kind of thinking all day about how can I make it a little bit better? How can I make it a little bit faster? And you come up with all different techniques or just ways to get, you got the same job you're doing every day, so you find ways to get faster. And we talking about how it's crazy how some dudes will do that shit for 20 years and they still suck. And it's like, what the fuck are you thinking about? It's like, how? Yeah. Because it's like, that's all I think about. So in one sense it is, because some people be like, oh, how was I so fast at what I did when I was welding and still make it look good and everything? I'm like, well, dude, you just, if you got to, it's like the 10,000 hours thing. Yeah. It's not just 10,000 hours doing it, it's 10,000 hours of practice, like actually trying to do better.
Concentration.
Yeah. And I was like, that's just how I always worked when I was welding. And so in that sense, it's problem solved. And then you got issues where sometimes you get things that not fit up right. Maybe they weren't cut wrong, the parts you get. And you do have to do some kind of problem solving, or you come up with new jigs to make things work better. And that was fun. But that's kind of how the job was more the first few years. The plant was newer. The people we had were somewhat better about that. Like, they were more into it. And now, like, even the management just doesn't give a fuck and stuff. And it got to the point where just nobody... They didn't care how fast we went. They weren't care about, you come propose a better way of doing something. They didn't care because, like, the people who were running it it wasn't the same.
They're collecting a check too.
Yeah,
and I was the same boat you are, just in a different office.
It's more fun for me, even if it's not bringing more money. If I can, like you said, just kind of problem solving. Like, hey, you come up to your, the boss or the engineer, like, look, we got a way to make this better, and if they're receptive and want to hear what you got to say, it's like, okay, yeah, it's just exciting. Like I said, there's no more money, but it's like you're getting to use your brain and do stuff. But then for years, it just hasn't been like that. And I mean, it like I said, it became draining my soul. Is the only way. That's how we all put it up there. Like, you just clock in that building and.
Yeah, it's crazy. My friend that owns that Street Glide we've had forever, and I've actually spoken on this the last couple of podcasts, but he passed away at the beginning of September, and he was a UPS driver or FedEx, right? And I remember he was in my bike club back in the day, real good dude, and he would just tell me how most of the guys that work there died in their trucks. Like, they would literally be there for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. And, when you're driving trucks, it's kind of hard to stay healthy. Yeah. Because you're, trying to stay awake, snacking, fucking pounding Red Bulls and fucking 5-hour energies and shit. And he didn't die in a truck, but that was something I always thought was insane about a lot of truck drivers that do those kind of, like, back and forth, or at least, because his run was like every morning, woke up, goes there, goes to San Antonio, comes back and forth. And it's like, man, it's not mindless, but in a sense, it's kind of like, fuck, man, like the only challenge I'm going to have today is what the traffic's going to be like.
I couldn't do a driving job for sure. I know that.
I could if it was like going across country, you know, like
I used to, but I've learned I don't even like doing that anymore. Like this drive back from Atlanta, I was just like, dude, I didn't realize because I used to do 1,000-mile, like, you know, car drives all the time. I mean, a 1,000-mile bike ride didn't even used to be bad. And now I was just doing that 900-mile drive, and I was like, Jesus, this is taking forever. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. This used to be easy. But I haven't done it in a few years, and I guess I'm getting old or soft or something.
Over it, yeah.
But no, I mean, like, having a challenge, it's way more exciting. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of mechanics who listen to this, and I don't know how I'd feel if it was just like a service job. Like, that might get old for me. It might, but like I was telling the guys at the shop when I was hanging out there at Dream Rides, I was like, while I was there, like 3 bikes came off the lift. They fired them up. Everything's good, ready to go. I'm like, that's kind of nice because where I'm working, it's all old stuff, and we might go a couple weeks without finishing anything because some of them are like, you know, big restorations and stuff, and it's like, sometimes it's like, dude, I just want to get this thing done. So it's like that part of service work could be nice, though, where it's like you're actually completing something on a daily basis.
And you get when you work in a passion-based industry, you tend to have more people are more stoked about like when you finish their bike or their car.
That's my favorite part now. Like when it gets done and they come and, you know, they're just so excited to pick up their car, and it's just like, I don't know. It's like, you know, showing them everything's got done and stuff.
Yeah,
and there's like, dude,
stoked.
where they call up the shop the next day and like, dude, it drives like a brand new car and stuff. It's like, it's never driven this good. It's like that feels good, you know?
It's not a paycheck reward, but it's a different reward that like it justifies the work that you put into it. Like I always reference this because Jeremy Lucky Strike told me, he said that this type of industry we're in, and the paint is really similar to anything you're dealing in a passion-based thing, whether you're restoring cars, bikes, or whatever, or building. And he says it's a fucking emotional roller coaster you go on where you're struggling to solve the problem, and it really puts you down low, and you just have a hard time drudging through the situation. But then once you figure out the problems and everything comes together, you're on that fucking high because you're like, fuck yeah, it's dope. Guy comes, he loves it, the internet loves it, everybody's happy, and you're on to the next project. And then you dip back down when you're going through those woes of, you know, the project.
Yeah. Trust me. I mean, like almost everything we work on is like 50-something years old. And so nothing's ever simple. And like, it'll be fun. Like something comes in, like, oh, dude, this car's so clean. It's so awesome. You know, for me, especially, like I've gone to car shows my whole life, but like I haven't actually gotten to getting them, driving them around. And there was always no touch. So it's like, get to play with them all. Yeah. And then it's like, it's all cool, and then like you go to just do something simple, and nothing is ever. There's, like every project, there's stuck bolts or whatever, you know. Because like I said, it's just they're all 50-year-old cars, and there's definitely those lows. But then you finally get it, or like you'll be fighting with a bolt for like hours, and then it's like you finally get this part off or something, and then it's like it feels very rewarding.
That's always the hard part. I mean, what's the little meme say? It's like you're always. One stripped bolt away, or every 20-minute job is one stripped bolt away from a 5-hour, you know, something like that. So yeah, it's tough, but I think where I've kind of been hitting roadblocks with my career is that in the same way I've helped cope with maybe the repetitiveness of painting, I've added 3 other legitimate career paths to my daily schedule that has kind of worn me the fuck out this year. You know, it's like photography was taking over quite a bit of time, and then I kind of have been in a weird space with that lately, so I haven't done it as much. Never made a dime with it. You know what I mean? I've got thousands of dollars in shit on that stuff. Like, it's a good looking road.
But dude, that's one thing that I'm pretty big on too, that I feel like our generation, everything's about being a hustle and stuff. And like, I mean, like I said with the bikes and stuff, when I got the Gold Wing, or I've done other stupid things with bikes, and it's just like, I'm just in it for fun, man. Like, I mean, I've got my shit where I make money, and then you're allowed to just have fun with stuff. And like, whether it's photography and you're just having fun and you put it aside because you're not having fun. You know, it's like I said before, whether it be riding, okay, I haven't been riding as much. It just ain't been as fun. So I'm taking a little break, you know? I mean, I'm all about just doing what's enjoyable. And like everything, but like even with the photography thing, like not making money, like I said, everything doesn't have to be a hustle. And I feel like that's all everyone in like our generation's always saying, it's like, I'm grinding, I'm hustling. It's like, you know, I'm out here, I'm up at 5 a.m. doing this and that and stuff. What are you doing? It's like, bro, I'm sleeping or I'm hanging with my family. It's like, fuck, dude, it ain't all about making money, man. Like, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm making way less money, but I'm way happier right now. And it's like I spend more time with my family. Like my commute is down. Like my commute's 2 minutes instead of an hour. Yeah. And it's like I'm home more. I'm getting to do so much more, and it just doesn't have to be all about money. Whether it's like every bike you work on, you know, building, if you're just doing it for fun, doesn't have to be about what you can flip it for and this and that. Yeah, I don't know. I get burnt out on the whole everything's got to be a grind, a hustle and stuff. It's like, dude, just enjoy your life, man. What are you hustling for? Yeah. I mean, what are you in such a rush for, bro? Like, I think maybe, you know, and I completely agree with you on that note, you know. Because originally the whole deal with photography was I didn't want to make any money on it because I would turn it into a hustle. You know what I mean? It's almost like if I just keep doing it for free, then it's all like just to do it, to push my abilities and skills and whatnot. Yeah. And then maybe one day the financial aspect would come into play. But I think but you also got to think, dude, I mean, especially like say something photography. Up until recently, what tiny percentage of people who took pictures ever got paid for that shit, you know? Yeah. Up until social media. Like, I mean, most people took pictures just because they enjoyed photography. I think it was actually the other way around. More people made money as photographers until social media. I don't know. I mean, everyone but magazines used to pay. Yeah, but how many people were actually taking pictures? It's always a percentage. I mean, obviously. But it had to be, because, I mean, everyone still had cameras back. I mean, not everyone. Like, I didn't have a camera. But, I mean, a lot of people, they still sold a fuck ton of cameras. And most of those people were just taking it to hang in their wall. Photography's like golf, album. You know, photography's like golf. Golf is a sport that you can chase your lack of skill with new products. And so you think, if I'm going to buy this, I'm going to get better. So I can't fucking hit a straight shot, but this new driver is supposed to do that for me. Well, the same thing in photography and all the electronics world is like, you know, oh, the new camera just came out. I got to get that one because it's going to make me a better photographer. Yeah. And so it's always one of those deals that, like, it's practice. It's 10,000 hours. It's literally having a vision, you know, when it comes to the art side of photography. So, yeah, that's how industries are, you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be 100 million people that buy this shit for the spark of, man, maybe I can be a photographer. But we all know that. Well, I mean, I think about my point is I think a lot of people buy a camera and never expecting to make money. Yeah, they just want to take better pictures of their shit, their friends, whatever, you know, and just enjoy. They just enjoy taking pictures. Like I said, it just goes back to just doing shit because you enjoy it, and it doesn't have to be a hustle. And that's kind of like what, you know, I feel like it's been for my friends, for like the opportunities, like shooting the bike, your bike for the FXR Bazaar book. And the Torque magazine was a great opportunity. But it just, I guess like anything, you can talk yourself into it not being fun anymore. And I think that's what I've done. Because after talking to you, you're right. It's not about making the money. It was realistically more of, maybe I was trying to justify the amount of money I spent. Maybe I felt like something should have. I do that shit. You know, I'm Jewish, so, you know, I'm always trying to justify spending this money and that money. But, I mean, like I said, then you just take a break, and then you probably end up missing it. Like, I mean, I've done it so many times with everything. Like, you just take a break, and then you end up missing it, and then, bam, it ain't going nowhere. It ain't a chick or something where it's like you take a break and, you know, can't go right back. Camera's still going to be sitting there. Yeah. Yeah, that's been that. You know, I think this whole year is much, for me at least, the traveling has been ×2 of last year. Yeah. Which last year was the most I ever traveled, and now this year is. And as much as I fucking love it, you know what I mean, it's taken its toll on me a lot harder than it used to. I hate to say it's because of age, or maybe it's just because of not also the physical. You probably feel more obligated now. It's less. Yeah. You're wanting to go do this. You probably feel like you got to go do it, and that just kind of changes everything when you start feeling like it's something you got to do. Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels that way. I mean, it's like the same reason why. I mean, you can attest to like having so many awesome friends all over the country. Yeah, you know, and they're all going to be at this place. Well, I want to be with them. Like, bro, you just fly, man. That's my new move, man. I did that at the West Coast Jam. Yeah, that's my move from now on, man. Just fly in, borrow a bike. Yeah, Dave Bauer, thank you. He had that bike for me. Say he's got one for me next year, so I'm gonna be flying again. I'm gonna do it again because that's the move. Like I said, it's so much nicer. Like going to something like that, especially. I mean, you're from Texas. Anytime we ride good roads, we're beat the fuck up before we even ride them, right? Because you just rode 1,000 miles to get to those good roads. Mm-hmm. It is a game changer when you could fly in and you're just right there, or like you're going to the west. Like I've been to so many West Coast, East Coast jams, and every time, by the time I get there, I'm tired because I did at least 1,000 miles to get there, and then like half the time in the jam, I'm just like, man, I'm just trying to rest. I'm not really trying to go hit all these roads and everything. Yeah. And then, but when I fly in, it's just like shit. I'm right there with all those local guys. We just did 200 miles to get here, and we're ready to party all weekend. Go riding, drinking, do whatever. I'm not just like, dude, I need to go take a nap. And
well, I think that's
nice. It's a nice change.
Like me taking my bike apart next week, and so like the down south campouts next week. I'm driving to it, so I'm driving to Jacksonville, hanging out with friends and doing podcasts, all that type of shit. So it's kind of like, I'm just not going to focus on riding right now. I'm just going to take the bike apart, make sure it stays apart, get work done, and then try to rebuild the bike to like, something nice for Daytona. Yeah. I'm still not looking forward to ride to Daytona, but
fucking trailer.
I don't have a trailer. I'm not opposed to trailering. I know
I got a trailer if you have a way to haul it.
I don't know. We'll see. I feel like once I've ridden every state, from Dallas to every state in the United States, I feel a lot more open-minded to trailering to things. You know what I'm saying? Because also like,
you're in the same boat as me. I got nothing to prove. Yeah. I mean, really, you ain't got nothing to prove no matter what.
Myself.
Well, but same thing. It's not even something to prove to other people. It's just like I've done it. Like I've ridden everywhere. You've ridden everywhere, and it's just like. So if I don't feel like it, like if you don't feel like riding to Daytona, it's not like you got to prove that you can to yourself. You fucking done it. Yeah. So it's like, who cares? It's like you trailer and, you 2-3 friends, and then it's an easy drive. You all do 300 miles and bam, you're there. Yeah. And that's easy,
So that's kind of like the concept for, I don't know. It just sucks because it is more convenient.
It is.
It goes against.
I know you talk too much. Well, I think there's a big difference in if you've always trailered, like if you've never even done like 1,000-mile day and you're trailering to all this stuff, versus, I guess I shouldn't give a fuck what anyone does. None of us really should, but I feel like that's where the shit talking feels a little bit more valid on trailers if you've never really rode any long distance. But if you've done it a bunch of times, and especially someone in your situation where you're trying to hit every big event all over the country, that's different than like, oh, you only go to Sturgis and you also trailered there. Yeah. Whereas, okay, you're going to hit Daytona and that's the first of like 20 shows you're going to next year and you trailered there.
Yeah. You're still going to put 20,000 miles on it. So trailering to Daytona won't be a big deal.
Yeah, if you trailered to Daytona and you did 500 miles all year long, that's a little different,
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, because next year we're doing the Pacific Northwest, when you
just be careful trailering though, that's just dangerous.
Yeah, you prove that shit for sure.
I'm not trailering no more. I'm shipping a bike if I got to send a bike somewhere.
That'd be someone else's problem.
Hey, you got me some work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I don't know. There's the work thing has been a big thing for a lot of people. I know my wife, she, she's been a barber for quite a while, and she's just over it. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, tell her now's the time to try something different. Yeah, because everyone's hiring.
For her, and this isn't me trying to talk shit or anything. I'm just saying for her, I feel like she has a hard time because she's so worn out for work that when she gets off work, she just doesn't have anything left to kind of invest mentally into another idea of something. Yeah. And I try to push her, and you got to get this hustle mentality, but at the same time, like I can understand how, she stands up and does this all day long to people's hair. You know what I'm saying? Like when I started like physically, when she was telling me that, I was like, oh fuck, like that has got to hurt. Like you know what I mean? Like put your arms down, you know what I mean? But you're just up doing this, and you're holding hair and scissors and a comb and this. It's like, arthritis is a huge thing in her industry, and I wish I could help her find something that gave her that feeling of like, this is something I want to pursue.
Something else she wanted to try. Just tell her to fucking quit and try it.
Yeah, she can't quit yet. I need that money.
You just gotta get a
Daddy gotta eat.
Don't need the money.
Yeah. So, well, we're actually getting closer to that. You know what I mean? Like being able to sell the other bike and buy one cash was a huge help.
Yeah.
I'm almost done paying off my Snap-on after 20 years.
Oh, no, I bought all mine cash.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't do credit.
Okay, baller. I get it.
Well, like I said, I just sold shit to do it. I mean,
Snap-on, like, that shit changed my credit. I had shitty credit. And then Snap-on gave me a credit line, and I just paid on it every month. And that shit took my credit from, like, the 500-somethings, you know. And I've been able to, you know, do well off. It was the first thing. It's like legitimately getting a real credit card. I have to do that whole, like, give the credit card money and then go spend it. Like, what the fuck?
Hey, that's always weird.
Like, like, that didn't make any fucking sense at all. So, you hear that they're trying to, they were talking about getting rid of the credit score thing?
No.
The government? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look into it. I didn't know
try
if
to stay out of most of the things going on in the world.
Well,
it's
kind of hard not to.
I don't see nobody anymore except it's just me and my boss at that job. So
Yeah.
I don't see nobody.
It's just you and him, or how many people work there?
Just me and him. He was a one-man shop, kind of like a Mark situation, something like that. I mean, I basically came on like how Justin did with Robbie, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, just doing that shit. But like I said, I don't got to talk to anybody ever, really.
Yeah.
So I don't really got to even know what's going on in the world. I can just kind of do my thing.
Yeah.
I just see my boss, my wife, my kids. That's about it.
How have you felt with social media lately? How's your relationship with that been?
I mean, I don't get on Facebook much anymore. I don't think most people do.
Yeah.
Just Marketplace and Instagram. I just get on for our group chat on there.
Yeah.
And that's mostly that. I mean,
it's been stagnant, man.
I mean, I don't got the same time, so I don't make memes. I don't got time to kill all day. Like my other job, I can finish my job in 4 hours, then I sit there 4 hours and just, you know, I got time to invest 30 minutes into a meme or some shit like that, because why the fuck not? You know, I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, you had a lot more time on your hands to divulge in all the fuckery that's on the internet that would probably put you in a headspace of...
Well, yeah, well, sometimes I'll even tell, like, our group chat, like, oh, man, this would be a good meme. But I'm like, I'm not spending the time to Photoshop that shit, like, when I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go home and do that shit. It's one thing if I'm at work and...
It's like shitting
like
at
I said,
work.
I got an hour to kill. But...
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know half the stuff going on the social media stuff. I try and... It all just seems political now. Which
it really is. And it's kind of starting to I think because that shit got so hot over the last, 5-6 years with, the last President Trump in office and stuff. And now it's like...
Even Instagram, like it used to be...
It used to not be political.
Less. It'd be there, but not as much. But now, fuck everybody. You go through your stories, it's all just... Fuck Biden and it's just like, bro, it's like, cool. How are you going to post that shit every day? Like, I don't like the guy either.
It's a new identity for a lot of people.
It is an identity. I'm
like,
how you going to post that same political opinion every day? Like, what are you doing with your life, bro? Like
Instagram is supposed to be a mirror to, like, what you want to expose about who you are, right? Like, your life.
I'm a Biden hater. That's my life, bro.
That makes you
up. That's what I do. You build shit. I hate Biden.
It gets old. I mean, when there's hot topics that come out, then like, I like to be in the know of things, but I still want to escape from it. And now it's like Instagram used to be an escape from all that bullshit, and now it's like it's heightened. Now not only are you getting a picture with all these things that you don't know if are true or false, but now they're making reels about it and IGTV, and everybody wants you to make videos now. So
I just try and focus mine on just bikes and cars. Yeah. And I try and unfollow people. I've unfollowed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just if not posting shit I give a fuck about and stuff, just to make it a little bit better. But like I said, most I just get on there and just talk to my friends. It's just easier because it's easier to send pictures through Instagram and stuff like that, in our group chat, or people always sending things they see, just different posts.
Tag someone in like something that came up,
Because we talked about just switching to text, but it's hard because we do that and then you're just sending this post in. It's like, dude, check this out, like this crazy thing someone built or something, and it's just easier.
Not everybody's on iPhone, so you get those green bubbles, and it just...
Fucking Android people, man. And then you forget how fucking just savage some people are, and you're like, I don't want to be judging my friends like this and shit. Let's go back to Instagram. You're sending me weird ass looking emojis and stuff.
It all looks like fucking.
It looks like a 5-year-old drew it, and you're like, what is this shit, man? Like, yeah, you know.
Step your fucking emoji game up.
It's bad. So yeah, you gotta stick the group chat on there.
Yeah, man. It's been a strange year, but in the same sense, it's I can't complain. I've done well, paint, things like that. A lot of great opportunities, but it's just like nothing feels certain. You know what I mean? Like,
when is anything ever certain?
I felt like it has in the past. Like, I'm not saying that it's always been perfect, but it's almost like the older you get, the more you become aware of more shit in the world, and it's like the more uncertain everything really feels, Like, I'm a business owner in a sense, and like living and working in this economy that we have, it's like, they were just trying to pass some shit where they were going to like look into every $600 purchase that a small business makes.
Yeah.
Like, to make sure that they get their tax money on $600. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't need the government in my shit that hard.
I think next year they're starting it if you do anything over $600.
Because usually that's like $10,000 is when they start looking into it.
Yeah, but if you're a small business, you should be paying tax. If you're up on your taxes anyway, doesn't really make a difference. And they're talking about like people. I looked into that a little bit because I sell a lot and stuff, a lot of parts and things like that. So I definitely passed that 600 threshold, and so I'm just gonna do what I've been meaning to do for a long time and just start an LLC or whatever, or get an LLC, start a business and stuff, and then you can write off. If you're just doing the side, I've talked to one of my good friends who's going to school for accounting, and he's about to be an accountant. He's working on his master's right now, and it's just like you can write off so much of that shit anyway. What I'd pay in taxes, I'll more than likely make back just by actually being legit anyway and getting to write off all the other shit. So it's, I don't know. Like I said, you can't affect it. So what the fuck you gonna be just sitting there bitching about it for?
Yeah, it's not that I want to bitch.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm talking about people online who just want to post this shit every day and cry about it and stuff. And it's like, what you're not changing shit. Go run for office if you care that much about politics. Posting that shit on Facebook ain't changing a damn thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like,
it's easier to point fingers than
it's definitely easier to point fingers, but it ain't doing nothing good for anybody. It just puts you in a bad mood with all that, which I'm completely, like I said, I just trying to live the best life I can. I said that shit last time. That's it. Whatever, just do what makes you happy. Why?
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, it's
bring you down so much.
I'm not really trying to say it's bringing me down. It just
gives
you a level of uncertainty. Like when you have lots of bills, that comes with having a shop, and there's you pay property tax. Even though I own this place, I have to pay property tax on all my equipment that's inside the shop. Everything that I own, every year I got to pay tax on this. Dealing with like, okay, I sold the bike and a lot of money went through my bank account. How's that going to look next year? There's just a lot of things when it comes to dealing with taxes that small businesses on the smaller end of the scale, like say for instance my size, it's kind of scary. Like one bad move, you're done. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to redo everything. And then this is woe is me. I'm sorry, but I don't really. What I do, what I'm most skilled at, isn't a job for me out there I can just go get. You know what I'm saying? Like. There's not 400 opportunities for airbrush artists across the country, and I don't really want to do that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So where am I going to go make the money I need to survive? And so that's kind of one of those like scary things where I have to fucking figure out how to get it done. If I had a house with a shop on the back, I'd be fucking set. You know what I mean? And that's the goal now. That's the goal, is to get to the point where, I need to get my life taken care of on the back end, get my taxes right, which has been a tough thing to do. And
but you talk about like you don't have a skill to go do that. Well, I got a skill, but I'll tell you right now, like if I see the welding jobs get posted all the time, like like that are looking. Guys still get like notifications on that kind of shit for different welding. I could legit go to Buc-ee's right now and make more money than probably 75% of welding jobs in DFW. So it ain't like it's really a fucking skill.
Yeah, that's sad.
Most of them are trying to pay between $14 and $20 an hour.
That's weird.
That's actually what happened with my father-in-law. He was welding at this company for like poles and stuff for like billboards and stuff like that, just metal poles.
Yeah.
And he wasn't there for long, and he was already like number 2 guy in his company, and he was like, I didn't get paid that much. He went to go work part-time at Kroger, making the same amount, only half the time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like Winco by my house, the grocery store, they start off, I think, $19 an hour, and it's $40 a month for your benefits. And I'm like, dude, that almost comes out to more money welding most places in DFW.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's like, what's the point?
Well, you think maybe it's like with...
Well, the other thing we're going to see is this, the resignation.
Yeah.
What I was really pushing for, I was working towards at my job, and I almost stuck around just to get it, to see it through, is I think you're going to see a big resurgence of unions. Because I know the unions is a big, it's a touchy topic for a lot of people. But yeah, they got to a point where they got too much power and they got corrupt and stuff. But the pendulum always swings. Then everyone was anti-union, and now the corporations and businesses got way too much say in everything, and it's gone way too far that way. And just like everything, whether it's politics left and right, or it's the unions and non-union stuff, there's always a pendulum that's going to swing one way and the other, and it'll get too far that way and then too far this way.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle is where it should be, but I think you're going to see a big resurgence of that, because I was working out there trying to get them to go union, and a lot more people were getting on board and stuff, because without it, the companies just do whatever the fuck they want, and that's no good either. You don't want the unions take advantage of the companies, but right now it's too far the other way, because we were all raised so, fuck the union, union's bad and stuff, but it's just gone too far to where the companies can just basically do whatever the fuck they want, and you have no say.
Yeah, do you think that maybe with like the push of, because when I got out of high school, obviously it was right when the .com thing was going off. Everybody was trying to be a coder, things like that. It wasn't really that yet. Everybody was just trying to make an online website, right? Yeah. And then the coding thing got huge in the early 2000s, and then you get all this fucking shit, Facebook, MySpace, all that stuff, right? And then all the different websites. But then, there was also somewhat of I think a lot of people started going towards trades too at the same time. I mean, you get guys like Mike Rowe with what he was doing with Dirty Jobs, and he's been an advocate for the trades world for forever. And then, of course, like the Jesse Jameses and all the different hot rod things. Everybody wants to be a welder and a fabricator and a this and shit. Well, do you think that when you go to high school and they're doing career day, and half of these boys that don't know what the fuck they're going to do with their life, they're not there enough. That's fucked up to say. They're not the computers. It just doesn't compute as well as like, welding or something like HVAC or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Do you think it's just gotten oversaturated, so these companies kind of have, the turnover rate's higher because they can just fill that position kind of thing?
They definitely can in Texas, especially with welding, just because everyone wants to go be a welder in Texas, because especially people our age. Like, I didn't grow to high school out here, but people my age who did, because I moved here later, 2010. But that was during, I graduated in 2005, and people my age out here, that was during like the big oil boom.
Yeah.
And so everyone wanted to go out and pipeline and stuff because they knew somebody else, who came straight out of high school and went out pipeline and making $100,000 a year right out of high school. And so that was the goal for a lot of people here. And it still is, a lot of people, everyone knows that pipeliner makes a lot. But there's definitely no lack of welders out here, I'll tell you that. And that's the only trade I can really speak on. I know some about the rest, but I would never suggest to someone younger getting into it. Like, some younger people have talked to me about it and stuff, and I'm like, I wouldn't, for the simple fact it's all going automation.
Yeah.
And I'd be lucky. If I stayed in welding, I got to the point where I didn't think I could retire doing it. Like,
means you still had to put another, 30
years? And I'm like, in 30 years, I don't see it. And people, they can never do fab shops. I'm like, okay, yeah, fab shops, no. But what fab shops maybe make up 3% of the welders.
Yeah.
So what are the chances I'm going to be one of those 3% doing that, Yeah. And I'm like, so people just getting into it now who have, 40, 50 years I don't see my job there, all the plant jobs going to be automation. Pipelines going on automation. all those jobs are going to be gone. And that was another reason why I was wanting to get out of welding. I mean, one, I just kind of wasn't feeling it anymore. Like, I still like welding at home, but not as a job. But I was like, what if I get kind of pushed out of welding when I'm 55 and I got to go start a new career?
Yeah, and you don't have
I mean, that's even harder. It's hard enough at 35, trying to start a whole new career at 55. And, I mean, I know other trades are going automation too. But
we were just talking about that, yeah.
And people always say, like, oh, yeah, they can't do this, they can't do that. I'm like, okay, 5-10 years ago, they said you can't do automation on the pipeline. Well, Dusty just left the pipeline, and he said tons of that shit's automation now. And 10 years ago, you thought that'd be impossible to do that shit in the field on a pipeline. And that's, I mean, so where are they going to be at in another 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? And
yeah, exactly.
So I don't see that.
And all these companies are going to, you know, rather than have all the different things got to pay for an employee, you know, like matching your taxes, your 401k, your benefits, your pay, trying to stay in a wage in your area. It's like,
or just deal with your employees.
That one, you know, let's just say it's $100 or $200 or even $1 million machine can produce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More, I mean, that $1 million machine is going to last more than a year. You know, and it's going to do the work of, you know, 5 dudes or 10 dudes or whatever the case may be.
Well, and the other argument was, well, somebody's got to run the machines. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, we had
1%.
Some automation there, but you had 2 guys. This is still early machines and stuff, and we weren't that great with the automation stuff, but 2 guys were running the machines that were putting out the same amount of work as like 20 people. So it's like, yeah, you'll have guys, but we ain't. I was like, there's 400 of us here, and we all ain't going to be here when this whole plant goes automation. I don't care. If it goes automation, there's going to be 50 people instead of 400. So it's like, yeah, there will be some people, but it's just not. It's not something you can retire on if you're my age, in my opinion.
So I was telling Matt right before you got here, the Walmart here in Waxahachie where I live got rid of all the cash registers that had anybody that stand behind them checking you out. So every cash register is a self-checkout now. And so when you would have 40 fucking cashiers, now you have
never had 40.
Yeah, they never had.
They had 40. They had 40 registers.
Yeah. Well, now they just have one person in each area just to make sure someone had, you know, alcohol sales or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
And so that's the same as welding, basically.
So it's like the percentage is gone now. And, you know, not that I have a lot of knowledge on this, but when you look at the same things eventually going to happen with trucking, you know, with the more advancements of these automated.
Before we're dead, assuming we die at a ripe old age, I don't think we'll be driving our cars anymore either. It's all going to just be
electric and automated.
Yeah, electric and automated. And it's one of those things you can bitch about and come up with a million arguments on why that's not good. It doesn't matter what you think. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when I was at the dealership, we had standards through the company that we would see like within the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, typical things like safety and everything, fuel economy. But then it's like fuel economy was like a big thing. You get these SUVs that are 17 miles to the gallon and they're wanting you to push 30 out of it.
Yeah.
Well, how's that going to happen? It's like everything's going to start going more electric, you know, more hybrids altogether.
Yeah.
Then just like that, I mean, Tesla has everything that can drive itself. You have cars that can park themselves. That's been going on for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
So everything is going to start being automated.
I mean, they can quickly turn. I mean, I think one of the biggest things with the Teslas being able to operate on the roads is like the more cars that are Teslas, it feeds more information back into the computers and then the more cameras and making the roads more visible to see the colors and things like that for the cameras helps the cars stay within their lanes and blah, blah, blah and shit like that.
You know, before Tesla came out, I mean, there's places in Europe that were doing it. There's, I want to say it was in New Mexico. They were doing it. They had these automated cars already.
Yeah.
And they were doing that over 10 years ago too.
I think they've already kind of successfully done like a couple of runs of like an automated, nobody in the car, or I think there was somebody in the car, but he wasn't driving, 18-wheeler.
Yeah.
Because there's somebody, it's either in...
It's in Europe.
I think there's one in like the Southwest, like Tucson or some shit that's doing that. I don't know. But it's going to happen.
It's coming. Yeah.
And but so this is what's also going to happen with that shit, and it kind of can lead into this other thing. The economy around trucking just isn't the truck drivers. It's those truck stops. You know what I mean? Those gas stops that have, you know, all the people that work around it, those cities in between the bigger cities. If the trucks ain't stopping, there's no fucking commerce coming through. You know what I'm saying?
But I'll tell you, all that shit, The way I see it is I'm not a doom and gloom guy, and I always just see it as the shit solves it. I mean, it happens in steps. It doesn't just happen overnight, and we adjust to. I mean, humans are really good at adapting to all that stuff and figuring out how to make it work. Like people talk about how we can't handle the electrical grid, can't handle all electric car stuff. Okay, well, I'm sure if you said 100 years ago how much fuel we'd be using as a country, they'd say there's no way we can sustain that either. Yeah. You know, if you told them 10 years into the automobile that like every house is going to have at least two and your people are going to be driving at least 10, 12,000 miles a year, they'd be like, there's no way. You can't support that. I mean, but we find a way. And nothing is permanent. I mean, just like the combustion engine is not lasting forever. I mean, it hasn't been around that long. And you just look, I mean, there were people whose whole life was building buggies, you know, and guess what? That shit don't happen no more. You know?
I think that the only thing I would say as a difference is the transition from horse and carriage to automobiles being in everybody's backyard or everybody's garage was over the course of like 40 something years or 50 years or something like that. You know, because I was looking at this because I did a deep dive going through the whole Eisenhower deal with him building, you know, doing his cross-country travel. And then 30 years later, they started building the highway infrastructure that we have here in America. And they were talking about how the car thing was, it boomed from like a couple 100,000 cars in America in like 1910 to like 1920. There's a couple million. Yeah. You know, and like that, they needed roads for that. So it took 30, 40 years to build that. Well, we build shit quick now. Yeah. And I think our industries change quickly now. So it's almost like you could still live out your, you know, you can still start and retire in a field then that now our fields come and go quick now. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as like pension anymore. There's no, you know, that shit doesn't exist anymore for the most part. You know, and every company's going to go more automated because it's more efficient. You can produce more shit. We have more people that need those things.
And ideally, we get to the situation to where you don't, if there's less work needed where we don't have to work as much. Like, that's another good thing I've been talking about with a lot of people. A thing I've come to realize, like Carlos was kind of giving me shit about this when I said it, because he's like, I've been telling you that for years, is that like, a lot of us get in this mindset, like you'll see someone talking about like a 40-hour week, and be like, oh, I remember my first part-time job, you know? Yeah. And it's like, I'll start by saying I was one of those people who like, you know, you brag about like, when I was working construction, it went on Converse to do literally 120-hour weeks. That's like 18-hour days, 7 days a week. And, you know, you brag about it like, yeah, you know, I put in 80 hours this week, 90 hours this week or something, like it's a good thing. Like, bro, it ain't a good thing. Yeah. You know, it's like there's nothing good. So spend all the time away from my family, all this for what, you know? It's like there's no honor in working that much. And
yeah, all your friends think you're cool as shit, but your family suffers.
Yeah, or I mean, or you feel like you know you're cool or a badass or something because you just put in so many hours. It's like, no, you're fucking stupid. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's the only way I see it now. And that's coming from someone who did it and used to brag about that shit. But for what? Like, what do you do? So you put in 120 hours. It's like, good for you. It's like, what? Why is that something to brag about, you know?
Yeah. Those are the guys that go to the chiropractor at 30. Yeah. And they're that's regretting it.
Yeah. I mean, my back's all fucked up from working way too long hours and stuff, sleeping 4 hours a night and for almost my whole life.
I think I think to be fair though, maybe to be a little bit devil's advocate, when you're young and you're trying to build your skills in your career and get the experience and you have the energy to do it, I'd probably suggest trying to make yourself available to learn and absorb as much as you can. Maybe not be all about I work 150 hours a week or 120 hours a week or something like that. But, you know, within reason, like, you got to work. I mean, you got to put in some effort.
I mean, but if you put in 40 and you make enough money and then you've got an extra 40 to 60 hours a week to go ride your motorcycle, go hiking, go spend time with your family. I don't care how old you are. It's like in your 20s, it's easier to do all that shit too. And it's easier to do that if you're not working 80 hours a week.
Not that I think all of us kind of go up in this, but there are a lot of people that do take, like you went to UTI, right? Yeah. So a lot of people in the trade still go to trade schools, and they have $25,000, $30,000, even $40,000 student loans to pay off.
When I was there, it was like 20,000, and then I looked like a year ago, and it was almost 40,000.
So you got to think, like, when you're in your 20s, like, you don't want to be paying on this loan for the next 20 years. You're never going to be able to get out of it because it's just going to compound interest for the most part. I think that's the term. Sounded right. But you know what I mean? So it's like you kind of have to push yourself harder at the beginning to in that situation where you can kind of get out of that debt and acquire the experience and shit like that.
Yeah, how I look at it is when you're young and everything, yeah, you got all that energy. You can work, 100 plus hours a week and not feel anything. You'll regret it later on. But the thing is, like when I started, I was busting my ass and working tons of hours. But then by the time before I quit, like I was doing all of that work in half the time. That experience building up, I was able to do as much work in less time. So
what about the concept? How do you feel about like the whole saying, the learning your 20s, earning your 40s or 30s, and
retire in your 40s, whatever.
I don't think it's retire, but it's something like that, where it's like like all the acquired experience and shit and skills. And like I said, this is all like, it's not a general blanket on every career path or every opportunity out there, but I mean, it's kind of working out for me. I mean, I fucking was broke my whole fucking 20s and most of my 30s, and now I feel like things are starting to click, I
mean, I think the biggest thing when it comes to either talk about paying off your student debt and all that, I mean, we're like, racking up, and that's why you got to work so much. I hear that from a lot of people, but then they drive a 2019 Silverado with an $800 payment. It's like you just... It doesn't matter how much money you make. Like I said, I mean, I make less money than probably just about anybody I know. And like I said, it's not like my wife makes a lot of money and that's where it comes from. It's just living below your means. I mean, I was taught that from a young age. My parents didn't have a ton of money and stuff, and that's just how I was always taught, is to just live in your means, And so if you've got all that debt, you just drive piece of shit cars and stuff, and you can't keep up with everybody on Instagram with the baddest FXR bagger and stuff. It's just like, okay, that dude can, Justin Meyer Sr. just posted up all the shit he just bought for his bag or whatever. I see a little posting. Okay, well, he's at that point where he can go drop. He just bought a bike and can drop $15,000 in parts. Yeah, maybe you're not at that point. Don't try and keep up with him. You're going to go broke trying to keep up with him because he's at that point in his life where he can. I don't know what he did to get there, but he did. He worked whatever to get to that point.
So I think that's the big thing that changed with social media, is because
15 years ago you weren't.
15 years ago, 20 years ago, you were hanging out in the circles in which you were like your age.
I thought about that a lot because, like, on Instagram, it's so easy, man. Like, whatever you're in, it's like it's easy. Damn, all you see is the best ones. You don't see the piece of shit bikes or the piece of shit cars. You see the coolest cars. Those are the ones popping up on your Instagram and stuff. Like when I was in high school, I had a Caprice on 20s and stuff. Nice little flake paint job, cool as fuck, right?
Hell yeah.
Really wasn't if it was like if I was comparing Instagram, but everyone else I knew, like all my friends, it was way cooler than their fucking car, So it was cool as shit. Like I said, I don't have no pictures. I look at pictures now, probably damn, that thing was a piece of shit. But at the time, I wasn't trying to keep up with 40-year-old dudes who've put in a whole 20 years worth of work and stuff, and I'm not trying to keep up with those dudes. Now everyone's trying to keep up with everybody, and then they talk about how they ain't got enough money and stuff or this or that, but they're or they can't pay off their student loans or whatever it is, but they're trying to keep up with all that shit.
Yeah, that makes sense. That is a good thing. A good point about like I said, everybody. I'm seeing the 20-year-old YouTube star and the fucking 40-year-old guy that made a lot of great decisions in life, and you're constantly trying to compare like what you think you should have to these other people.
Yeah, you're trying to compare your bike, but maybe you're not in that same person's life, Everyone's not going to have the baddest FXR or the baddest bagger and everything. It's like you got to just do what makes you happy. If you can't afford $1,500 shocks, you just can't afford it. You don't need them. Yeah. And just enjoy your bike for what it is,
We try to, we talk, obviously it's a motorcycle podcast, so talking about products and brands and all this like materialistic stuff is like people are interested in that, right? So if we didn't talk about that at all, then this podcast probably wouldn't have a lot of substance to be interesting. But, you know, what we've always said to everybody is, as much as we want to talk about who has a sick ass bike, at the end of the day, the people that rode whatever to the campouts, to the bike nights, to the events, like, that shit's cool as fuck. It doesn't have to be a fucking $100,000 bagger, you know?
Yeah. Well, see, and stuff like that too is you can have a beater as long as you take care of it. It can outrun some of these newer bikes too, because like when we went to California, I had all those issues on my bike.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, when he went across country on his FXR, and then all of a sudden shows up where we are and didn't have a single issue, I was like, okay, my 2015 just got shown up by, I don't remember what year it was.
94,
right?
94. I was like, okay. I mean, that's a real humbling experience. I mean,
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's just a lot of trying to keep up people. We all get sucked in. I'm not going to act like I don't, you know?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good for a little motivation and stuff, but it always comes down. I guess it's good for motivation. It's bad for budget. You just got to keep in mind what your budget is. Just like I decided to build an FXR for this Virginia City Roundup.
Yeah.
That FXR Bazaar and Choppers Mag and Dirty Biker are, put on. This year was the first year. And so a little shout out for that. And they're doing an invited thing, so I put in for that. And I know I've probably got the smallest budget going into this because, like I just said, I'm not making a lot of money this year. But, you just got to work with what you got,
Yeah.
And so maybe you learn to make more shit on your own. Or, I mean, if you're not in a show, you just get your bike running so you can go have fun and stuff. But, I mean, I guess my point being is just trying to work with a budget. Like, I know I can't outspend John Jessup or Ramjet Racing or, Power Plant and stuff. I'm not going to put more money into my bike than them. So why would I even try? Like,
well, I mean, at the same time, like when I first met you, I was on the other spectrum. I was like, everything had to be money, money, money. Yeah. Not that it had to be, but, you're trying to put it in there because that's what was wowing the crowd that I kind of was in before. And I don't know that I would say as far as like I changed or anything. I just think that it made it more being around you and Mark and all those guys in that late 2016, early 2017 helped kind of reframe like what was important about motorcycles. And that's whenever traveling became more important.
Yeah.
I haven't technically built a bike since the Gold FXR. I mean, I've thrown parts on bikes, but I haven't. Because I just want to ride them. You know what I mean? I don't want my bike to be down for 4 months.
And that goes back to what I said. You got to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a fuck? Okay, you're not, quote, building bikes or whatever, and it's like, but if you want to ride them and you can't have multiple bikes, you ain't got the time to build one, who are you building it for? I mean, if what you want to do with bikes is ride it, then you should ride it.
Yeah.
If me, I'm more in the building mode. Like, I just don't really care to ride right now. Like, it's just not really calling to me.
Yeah.
Building them's more fun. Got some guys, it's just they want to stunt them. I don't really understand the stunt thing. Doesn't really do much for me. Mm-hmm. But for some guys, that's all they want to do. So fuck it, do it. If doing wheelies and fucking burnouts or whatever just makes you super happy, then I mean, the bike can do whatever you want. If you want to just, like we talked about trailing to shows, if you want to do 500 miles a year and trailer to 10 shows, hey, if that's what makes you happy and really you just want to show off your bike and hang out with your friends, then fuck it.
Do it.
People might talk shit. We might be some of them. But if it's making you happy, then fucking do it. I mean.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're not going to not be your friend. We're just going to poke fun.
Exactly. I mean, just like I'm going to talk shit. You riding a new bike and stuff. Don't really fucking mean anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just talking shit. But if you want to put down stupid miles, it's way easier on a new bike than an old bike. Not to say it can't be done on an old one, but it's for sure easier on a brand new bike.
Well, like I said, my traveling thing is more of, I've almost got the whole country covered as far as the states I've ridden into. And honestly, also with a lot of my close friends. So, like, that's kind of an accomplishment that I'm looking forward to achieving, hopefully by the end of next year.
What are you missing?
The Pacific Northwest and with them, the Midwest. They haven't done, like, we as a group haven't done, like, I haven't done Iowa or Minnesota or North Dakota. So I haven't done those 3 states, and I haven't done Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. So I have those 6 states that I haven't personally ridden in. With the group, it's probably like those 3 states up northwest, and like most of the Midwest as a whole, like Indiana, Illinois.
Never a whole lot of reason to go there.
I'm finding more and more reason, man. Like I'm actually, I'm in love with like the Chicago, Milwaukee area.
Yeah.
Mainly because we've always looked at the West Coast, right? Oh fuck, I want to go to the L.A., San Francisco, the mountains. They have everything right there. But man, like there's just like this working class feel. Even though Chicago maybe not as much, but it still kind of has that feel. But Milwaukee, dude, I love that shit up there.
I've never been up to Milwaukee.
The town, it's
Chicago.
like so. It's such a working class town. It's always been a manufacturing town. It's you know, what I've always liked is, and I've talked about it a million times, but they have like not that I want to go drink there. That's the only reason, but all the little neighborhoods have like bars on the corner, right? Mm-hmm. And they're all open 24 hours for the most part for all the different shifts. The first shift, second shift, third shift. So when you get off work, you can go have a beer or something with your coworkers. I just found that to be like very, I don't know. Just
next time we go to Wisconsin, you got a podcast with Will.
Which one?
Will K, the one who built that like show Purple and Blue FXR. You know, he used to have a shop down here. I told you, he's the first guy I met with FXRs. He's in the book. He's one of the original owner guys in the book.
Where's he at?
Stories. Not far from Wisconsin.
Okay.
I'll tell you where.
That's a whole state.
Where? Okay, sorry. Not far from Milwaukee.
Okay.
I meant to say.
Dude, I when I was up there last, whenever I did this motor, I rode out to S&S out in western Wisconsin. Fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
And the leaves were starting to change, and like
that's always the best time to ride anywhere.
It's so I feel so gay saying it. Like when you're riding through like the changing seasons, man, it's fucking beautiful, man. It's like such a transcendent kind of vibe going through it and shit. You know what I mean?
Well, that's another thing I think a lot of us miss when you're trying to ride hard all the time and stuff too. It's just sometimes it's nice to hit like mountains and take it easy and just enjoy the scenery. I mean, people go to those places in cars just to look at shit, you know? And we just we'll go through and not even pay any attention to the fucking scene.
All
you do is paying attention to the roads. Sometimes it's nice to just hit a mountain and just take it easy. I mean, you got the best view of anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're not in a car or anything, but we'll just blast through. Sometimes it's nice to just cruise through, speed limit, maybe a little lower.
So one of the things we're looking at doing after we kind of knock off this Pacific Northwest is to do shorter trips, still be 2 weeks long, shorter trips, but spend the whole 2 weeks in a smaller area. That way it's not so much of a traveling past. And you know what I mean? Like maybe, like say we're going to do Colorado, we're going to spend 2 weeks in Colorado.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit too much time for that state. It's not as big of a state as, you know, like.
I don't know, man. I have a lot of time just hanging out. Like when me and my friends just hanging out at the fucking apartment, or not apartment, but hotel, or Airbnb or something like that, you know. And
I mean, I'm not saying that it can't work.
I guess you're going with friends who live here most of your travels.
Yeah, I'm not going to hang out with them friends that I haven't seen or talked to. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've been talking about, like, my group going somewhere, and, like, if Jessup gets up and running with rental bikes or something, just all flying out there.
Yeah.
And then we just get an Airbnb, and we all just rent bikes and just hang out there for, like, a week.
Yep.
And just ride around, get Airbnb,
I
rent
feel
bikes.
I feel like you, man, I could be kicking myself in the ass, but I feel like the whole Smoky area, the Smoky Mountain area, just that whole borderline between, you know, basically Georgia all the way up to Virginia, you could easily spend 2 weeks there because there's so many roads.
Easily.
Now, Colorado has a lot of roads. Don't get me wrong.
I haven't ridden Colorado.
But they don't. They're
not.
They're not as. They're more.
Not as vast.
There's a lot of getting from point A to point B roads in Colorado.
Yeah.
And there are some like mountain passes and things like that. I could be wrong. I've ridden quite a bit of Colorado, but not enough to be confident.
I haven't rode enough of it.
I'm not super confident in this, but I feel like you could do $1 Million Highway. Then you could do, you know, Gunnison. I think it's 50 or 55 across. You can do Glenwood Springs. You can go do Pikes Peak. I mean, realistically, you know, from one side of Colorado to the other is like 250 miles, maybe.
Yeah.
300, maybe 300. It's not that wide, you know. So like and it's straighter roads. I mean, they're curving, but you're in the Smokies, man. Like, there's a lot more people that live there. There's a lot more people living there, so you can't just blast through the roads the same way you would going through like very, very.
But that's when you just, like I say, you gotta just take time and just, because I've been there a million times. Not the Smokies, but like when you're riding good roads and you're stuck behind like in traffic, that's when you just gotta just accept it and just enjoy the view and be like, I'm not riding hard. Because if not, you just get frustrated that everyone's driving so slow and you just start getting mad. And it's like, and then you're like, okay, now I'm in this great place, and I'm all pissed off because I can't ride hard. I feel like sometimes you just got to be like, this ain't the ride today. Like, it's just not happening. Let's enjoy it. You know, let's look around. Let's still have a good time, you know.
I'm really starting to understand that more, that, like, you know, you're building all these bikes to smash these corners as hard as you can, but
you might get there and somebody's doing 10 under the speed limit, and there ain't shit you can do about it.
That's
or
always
you get mad, you're just tailgating them the whole time, pissed off, and then it's like, well, what a fun day that is, you know? It's like
that was exactly what we did on PCH going down from.
Yeah.
And you know,
trust me, I've been there. You get mad as fuck too. You're like, what the fuck is this dude doing?
Right when they get out of the way, it's like we all just take off, and then there's a Ducati right there with us.
But it's like, I'm riding PCH, man. Like, just cruise it and take in on the scenery and stop at a couple of these turnouts.
Yeah.
Get off your bike and look. And I mean, like, that's a mental thing I'm trying to get into, because it's like, we don't have those awesome roads within a reasonable amount of distance from here, right? So when you really do want to fucking just get in the corners and stuff, like, I'm finally in the best roads in America, and I want to ride the fuck out of them. But I also,
you can't control that shit.
Yeah, I also want to fucking enjoy it and get some cool little GoPro footage and take some pictures of the bike.
Well, see, that's where the 2 weeks in one spot can make a big difference, because you can,
Tuesday afternoon's probably a lot emptier than Saturday.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, so, like, you can take, like, that Tuesday, you can rip through, and then you could just take your time back and stop. Like,
so when I went there, when I went to NorCal in March, PCH had a mudslide, so you couldn't ride up it. So I went and rode, I think it's Caramel Valley, however you say it, Valley. It was fucking beautiful. Well, I stayed in Monterey, and I got to the hotel soon enough where I dropped all my shit off the bike, and then I went and ripped fucking PCH. There was still cars on it, but it wasn't nowhere near as many cars because people couldn't drive through. So they were either going to check out Bixby Bridge or whatever the fuck it's called, or they actually lived somewhere off PCH down there. But man, I had a fucking blast fucking ripping those roads. And then I still took my camera and got some photos
and
down
some
there.
people get to live in those places.
Yeah, it's fucking, it's inequality is all it is.
It's ridiculous. Like, I might have even said it before, but like the first time I went to Nick's house, you know, up in Galt outside Sacramento, I was like, dude, why everyone talked about California. I'm like, I got there, it's like 105 degrees. I'm like, this shit sucks. Like, this ain't worth it at all. And I just stayed there. You know, we rode up from Born Free, and we went the shitty way, not the coast.
Yeah, probably
so it was like
99
hot
or
as
5,
fuck the whole way there. And I'm like, dude, California, I don't get it at all. But then I came back to go to the West Coast Jam, and we left from his house. And like 15 minutes after leaving in his house, we're just in the mountains, and then it's the mountains the whole way to the jam. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's making more sense now. Like now I get it. We just hit the shitty side, but I'm like, if I could just go do this on a Saturday, like that'd be way more fun riding. Like for me, riding on a Saturday out here, it's like, what? Like we've talked about, so what are you gonna do? The loop, like, and sit in traffic, or we could split lanes. Ooh, that's exciting, you know. But it's like
there's really the only thing that you really have to do here is bars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then that just gets old. You know what I mean?
But I could see it being way more fun to ride if 15 minutes you could be in the mountains.
I mean, I think for a while we did a couple years ago, we would do like a meet up and ride kind of thing. But like, dude, we have to
do Loco Coyote or whatever.
Yeah, that's so fucking boring too. It's like,
it's not like it's fun roads there, and chances are, like I said, you're gonna get stuck behind someone doing 50 the whole way down there. And
the thing about going to Loco Coyote, even though it's a cool spot, is that's where the good riding starts. And we're there now. Now we got to turn around and come back to the same shitty roads we just fucking took to get there. So it's like, it just doesn't resonate. Good location. Yeah, we're in a good location for certain things, not riding.
Yeah,
you know.
But the other thing I'm sick of, what I've come to love with the whole flying ride, because I did it twice with the West Coast Jam now. One time when I left my bike the first year, and then last year when I flew and rode, is it's so nice. You could probably relate not having that ride home where it's like 5 hours of nothing to get back to home.
Yeah.
You know, like you just did this big trip and it was great, and it's like, then you got to go home and you're like, it's going to be so boring as fuck. It's just like straight nothing.
Well,
like if you're coming from like the east, like all the way from like all of Arkansas and then like Arkansas down and stuff.
Right now I've been dealing with that pretty heavy because I've done and I'm about to drive. That's mainly why I want to drive now because I'm sick of riding it. The ride from here, whether you're going 20 west or you're going 30 up to Little Rock and then into, I'm fucking over it, dude.
That's what I mean.
I've done it so many times now.
I feel you.
I need to balance it by going west.
Towards New Mexico, like to get to New Mexico when you're going up, was it 287?
Yeah, that's
to get up there. I'm so sick of it. Like I used to. That was actually my favorite boring ride.
Yeah, I prefer
I'm so
that.
Sick of that, and I'm so sick of here to Texarkana.
Yeah,
like both of those, man. If I never did them again in my life, I don't want to do them in a car. I don't want to do them in a bike. I don't ever want to see those roads. I'm so. I've
actually the last time when I went to California earlier this year, I actually went 20 out there, hit Abilene, then jumped into the middle and rode across, and then met back up on Interstate 10 in like New Mexico or something. And yeah, there's not a lot to see out there, but it's just different. Yeah. It's just different. And then you do get to go through some badass mountains, like right when it's like Cloudcroft, you drop down into White Sands, New Mexico and shit. It's pretty dope. But man, like it does get boring. But like what we started doing on the way home is trying to, and this is like my buddy James's idea, is like trying to make it to where it's not like, okay, we hit Born Free, all right, now we got 2 days to get home.
Oh, it's
no,
the worst,
it's the worst, right? So if you hit Born Free, and then, all right, let's take 4 days to get home and go see some shit on the way home. That way, each day we're doing 200 to 400 miles tops to something cool, and the next day another 200 miles, nice. And then bam, and then your last day is a 350-mile day. So 6-hour ride, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That
gets me excited to do some long rides again, because I put long distance riding on hold basically until my kids are gone, just because I feel like it may be just me feeling guilty. I feel like I wanted to talk about that, yeah. And I rode a lot for the past 6, 7, 8 years. I've done stupid miles and, like I said, work stupid hours. Like I do 80 hours a week, and then I'd get my 2 weeks vacation and spend all 2 weeks on the bike and stuff. Yeah. And like I said, it's probably me feeling guilty. Like I got one kid's about to turn 15, one's 11, and honestly, I mean, I feel like I was gone too much. Like I didn't spend enough time doing their shit, you know? Because I get home from work and I feel like, I just put in 12, 14 hours or whatever. It's like, now it's time for me to go do my shit. I'm going to go play in the garage for a couple hours because, I just put food on the table. Which I feel like, okay, you could justify that shit. But for me, I regret it, And so that's part of the reason why I sold the Gold Wing too, is because it's a long distance bike. I don't need that shit to get to fucking
2 miles.
Yeah, I don't need it to get to the bar or come out to bike night or whatever it is, And if I start doing whenever I do start doing long distance riding, and I'll probably actually get another one, But it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I felt guilty on that. Like now, I've even got more time because it's not that kind of job where I got 2 weeks off. I could tell him, honestly, I can't just be gone half the year. But it's like I could be like, hey, I'm taking this week off and stuff, and it's not like I got a set amount of time. Yeah. But I told my wife, we're just gonna I want to start taking the kids on trips and stuff. They want to see a lot of things, like they want to see California. So I told them, you guys get good grades this year. We'll fly out to California, rent a car, go do that whole California touristy stuff. Because I'm going to all these places, and like they all get jealous of stuff. They're like, oh, you went to California, you went here and there, and so, like I said, I mean, I guess for anyone else too who's maybe a parent, maybe you can justify that shit. But like I said, for me, I regret it because like my 15-year-old, I feel like I'm not as close as I should be with her because I was gone for up until like this past year. I've been just doing my shit, either working or working on bikes, and it's not right, I don't think. Yeah. So
and I get that. I guess I understand your perspective because your income was coming from the job you put 40 hours in, but for me, my traveling is still a form of work. You know what I mean? Like Sturgis's work, and it's always been like a hard thing to justify to like my wife and things like that. Because when she sees you on Instagram, I'm like fucking, shotgunning beers or some shit. Like, it's still kind of work in a sense, But I'm in the same boat with you where it's like I've seen so much of this country now on the back of a bike, and I kind of prefer it that way. But I would love to have been able to share it with my wife. You know what I mean? I would love that if we could find a comfortable way for her to be on the bike for that amount of time. We do like doing road trips together, so I think we're actually probably going to lean more into that next year. Yeah, and just do some road trips, and then I can take podcast equipment and camera, and we can go see some cool shit. I think I got a bagger coming from New York that we're gonna paint, and I think I'm gonna drive it.
You don't paint baggers anymore.
Yeah, dude, I got 4 baggers I'm painting this winter.
You used to say I don't paint baggers anymore.
No, during the summer I don't paint baggers. So no, but I think I'm gonna when it's done, the money that it costs to ship a bagger is like fucking $800 paint wise.
I can't believe it's that little because I just tried to ship an RP fairing and
it's probably higher right now. Yeah.
Dude, that shit told me the box I first packed in because I probably overpack a little bit, but I've never had something get messed up and I like to keep it that way.
Yeah.
And that shit came to over $300 to ship to Florida. And I'm heading to Florida in December, so I told him, I'm like, dude.
What part of Florida?
Jacksonville, back home.
I'm literally driving there next week.
When you mentioned that, I was gonna hit you up. Well, he's not in Jacksonville. He's a little south. He's in Lakeland. But
Lakeland. I'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was gonna actually.
So the camp
when you mentioned that, I was just gonna bring up on the podcast. I was gonna say if you wanted to just haul it out there because I told him I was like I'll be there the second week of December. My daughter's quinceañera. So
Lakeland's a good ways though. So but I mean Lakeland's all the way down south, like by Tampa, in between Tampa and
Daytona.
Yeah, so
not Daytona, Tampa and
Orlando, but the down south camp out's in Inglis, Florida, so it's like a little bit like 100 miles north of Tampa on the coast.
Oh yeah, he'll probably if he's around, he could grab it. If not, you're going to Jacksonville first, right?
Going to Jacksonville first.
See, I could have you just drop it off my brother. That's because he couldn't even get it while I was there. I was going to drop it at my brother's house.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to like Alleyway Customs. Fish's shop. We're gonna do a podcast, so I might be able to just leave it there, and you can come pick it up from them.
Yeah,
depending on what. Yeah, I'll help you out, whatever the case is. But yeah, shipping's ridiculous.
So yeah, it's.
We're just working out this deal. Yeah, I'll be here.
But
good podcast.
But no, dude, it's crazy. I'm like, how do people even sell parts online and like make a living?
So when you have a shipping account, like you get a much better deals on that stuff.
Gary used to let me use his sometimes. I was like, that shit's like 50% off.
It's very helpful. But. Yeah, so my deal was like, hey man, just give me like $600 and I'll hand deliver these things to you basically. And I want to take my son to New York. Yeah. It'll be in January, so it might be pretty cold, but he's 11 years old. I feel like, man, like that'd be such a fun. Me and him drove up to Adam Sandoval's party a couple weeks ago, and it was just me and him in the car, and he's showing me all the music he wants to listen to and like these bands he knows of, and going into Buc-ee's. He's like, I want this, and like. Just it was exciting, to do that with my son. And, on the way to New York, I mean, there's a lot of cool shit we can see, but I'm trying to think of what's going to really stand out for an 11-year-old. Mm-hmm. And I feel like going to Washington, D.C. and seeing some of those monuments and things like that might be a lasting impression on him. But the dude's fucking been in love with Spider-Man since he was born. Like, let's go take him to see fucking where Spider-Man swings around at.
And you'll see a Spider-Man out there.
For sure. You know what I'm saying?
And I know you've been to New York as of recently, so yeah, you'll see a Spider-Man out there.
So like I still got to work it out with his mom and everything, but I think it'd be fucking fun, to do that. I did the one with my daughter when we went to NorCal together, and she was 17, so it was a much easier thing for her, Like she just needed a couple IG photos.
Jason about it. He mentioned on his podcast once, probably like a year ago or so, and this is actually when it really hit me. Is he's talking about how when they're like 10, 11 years old, 12 maybe, is like that's like the end of them being like little kids and like you're like the shit, and like that's when it's gonna stop where they just come up and give you hugs and stuff for no reason, and just like, and after that, you might keep a good relationship with them, but it's like that ends right there into like he was telling somebody to take advantage of it. And my daughter was like 9 or 10 at the time when he said that. And I actually hit him up. I was like, dude, thanks. Because, like, I didn't really think about that. It happened with my older one. And I'm like, and that's when I was like, I got to start spending more time with the kids and stuff before. Because, like I said, 7 years, they're fucking gone. And that's kind of crazy to think about. Because I've had kids since I was, like, shortly out of high school. So it's like never done the no kids thing.
Well, that's the kind of weird thing, too, about, my daughter's about to be 20. And she's fucking surprisingly very self-sufficient. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I hope she doesn't listen to this. I was really expecting her to ask for more money than she does. Fortunately, she doesn't, so I get extra parts for my bike. But, it's just one of those things, like, I always wanted to get financially stable enough to be a big help to my kids in their early adulthood. Because I felt like that's where my dad definitely kind of dropped the ball helping me out. It's like, thanks for the light and the food. Then you just dropped me off with no knowledge of how to live life. You know what I mean? Didn't understand car insurance. Didn't understand a lot of these different things. And I want to blame my dad. It's ultimately still my fault, but at the same time, like guidance is a big help, and then having your parents there to kind of help you out in a sense, like not necessarily financially all the time, but just with like good advice. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm going to take it. I just want to be there and be able to help my daughter or my son, whatever. If they do want to go to college, I could help them out in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
You know, if they do want to, do something to better themselves, they don't have to feel like they're everything is going to be on their own dime, on their own accord. Like, I want to be there to help them with those lifelong decisions. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No.
But
Makes sense.
yeah, that's been the hard thing, man. Like traveling, and I think the last trip when I went to Milwaukee and then to the Smokies for that V-twin thing was, man, I just really wanted my wife to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and fortunately, she's going to go with me to Milwaukee for Mama Tried, and we're going to spend like a couple of days just doing like no bike shit. You know what I'm saying? Just go stay in Chicago, stay in Milwaukee, sightsee, that type of stuff. And I'm looking forward to that. Honestly, more than I'm looking forward to doing the bike stuff. Yeah. To be completely honest with you. So
has she gone up to Milwaukee?
She hasn't even been to Arkansas. No, she's been to Arkansas. She is very well traveled on the West Coast in like Florida and the South. But nothing, no Tennessee, nothing north of Tennessee. Anywhere.
It's so nice over there too.
It is. It's beautiful. It's crazy that you've been, thinking about, I think the same thing about moving, right? Like not being in Texas anymore. And I found myself when I'm, at Justin, my machinist's house. I love his neighborhood. I love his, Little Rock's pretty nice on the north side.
It doesn't ever sound nice.
It's
like you
not
say Little Rock and I'm like,
It's not that bad, man. I mean, I know that every town has its hood. It ain't Memphis. That's for damn sure.
Well, I more think like just, I guess,
Little Rock's
as much
not
as
a
I
huge
spent time in Arkansas, I just always feel like Arkansas is just white trash.
Yeah. It's definitely got that vibe.
And yeah, that's the vibe I get from Arkansas.
Well, I guess that's why I like, like if you go to Fayetteville, if you go up there towards like that area, the college towns, it's pretty fun. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, any college towns usually.
Little Rock's pretty nice, man. I've had.
I mean, now I think about it. I mean, I guess I've only really ever stopped at Tony's place, but even their downtown isn't bad. It's pretty. It's all gentrification's happening everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And I just fell in love with Tennessee though, man.
Tennessee's nice.
I've always liked it, but then when I was there last week, I was like, dude, like my oldest daughter is the only one who wasn't on board when I talked, because I talked to John about working up there when he was first put out that he was hiring someone, and I just couldn't get my oldest one on board because she's got all her friends that she's been friends with the whole time through school. She's just started high school. But, man, after going, I'm like, I'm taking them up there in February, the whole family, to Dusty's house and see if maybe he can convince them, be like, look how awesome it is.
Being able to move, man, like that's something I think I wish that my family, I wish I would have had that forced opportunity to relocate, and because I'm scared to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm almost 40 years old, and I'm scared to move out of this.
But you're from here.
Yeah, I'm from here.
See, that blows my mind, dude. Is how anyone could still be
where
they're from. Like,
I don't like that I went to a high school that's 15 miles that way.
That's insane to me.
You know what I mean?
Like,
it's like,
I mean, I still like weird. Jacksonville, but
it's weird talking about it because I know so many of my friends that have really great lives. They live, same thing, 10 miles away. Brad still lives a mile from the high school he went to in the house he grew up in. Like I get it for some people, it fucking works, man. But to me, I have such a wanderlust that, and when I travel, I see these areas and I see like, man, what's it like to come here, to wake up here in different seasons, to get to know the locals, to what's my spot here? Where's my restaurant, my bar, my cafe, like all that shit like intrigues me. You know what I'm saying? And, there's been a couple of pocketed places across the country that I've just kind of fallen in love with, man.
Eastern Tennessee. That's the spot, man.
I'm going to tell you right now, the main places have been Little Rock. It's been like Knoxville. Mm-hmm. It's been Montrose, Colorado. And I think there was another spot that was like really calling my name. But I think those are the main ones. The Montrose spot was just like a random spot we went through on the way home from Sturgis last year. But it's like location-wise, it's like a hop, skip, and a jump to every place I like riding and going to. So Sturgis was 800 miles. L.A. was 600 miles. NorCal was 600 miles, maybe 800.
Yeah.
Something like that. It was like a quick thing, and it was like 800 miles back to here, right? So it was, I mean, there's a lot of mountains in the way, so it wasn't like a quick rip, but it was still relatively something that you could live there. And then it also, they were saying, the locals said there that it doesn't get pounded with snow the same way that like Milwaukee does. Like it'll have snow, but you're not like dealing with snow the whole fucking winter. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And it's not as high as an elevation as like Durango and all those places are. So I don't know.
Your wife down to move though?
My wife's down to do whatever. Yeah. I mean, she's a barber, so she can find work anywhere. I know she doesn't really want to do that, but I mean, me and her have always wanted to do like, not when I say the van thing, like the Sprinter van thing, not like as a permanent solution to a home, but like to be able to jump in it and go do like a month-long trip, you know, up the whole coast of California or, you know, all through the mountains of Colorado, Wyoming.
That's what my group just did. They all bought Sprinter vans. I was like, bro, like we did Goings last year. I'm like, I'm out on the Sprinter van thing. I'm like, I ain't got that kind of money. Yeah, Nick bought one. Greg bought one. Josh bought one. I'm like, I'm out on that one.
A nice little skinny bike, you know, something that way when I get there, I can like pull it out and we can do a little cruise on it. Would be dope.
Yeah, your skinny bike version is probably different than mine.
I'm thinking it's like just an FXR or something like that. Just like a no.
I know you guys call them like skinny baggers, as if like
it's a tire.
What?
It's the back tire, skinny tire baggers, not skinny baggers.
They say skinny baggers.
That's because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Okay. Forums.
Goddamn fuck! You on Facebook again?
No, man. I be seeing that from like Steve and shit on Instagram.
No, it's skinny tire baggers.
Okay. So I just see it, I guess, abbreviated down to skinny baggers.
Okay. Yeah, he might say that.
Big.
He might say that, but
I thought like the frame got bigger or something.
They did. Okay. The frames are bigger. But yeah, they just run a smaller, more narrow back tire, and but no, I would definitely, you know, just something kind of simple, and that way you can kind of put it in a van or on a trailer. It's not like super heavy where it's going to drag the shit down. But man, I don't know when that something's. If I was able to buy a house that has a shop behind it, and I didn't have to have this expense here, and I made enough money through painting helmets. And the other good thing is like being a graphic guy and an airbrush guy. Like I can go when I used to go to NorCal.
That at a show and stuff, right?
Well, I mean
just anywhere.
If I schedule it, like I could sit here and my homie in NorCal, like we used to. I'm like, hey man, I can be up there for about a week, and we can knock out a job or two, and that job would cover my entire livelihood back home. Yeah, and I wouldn't have to be here. Like I could pay for all that. And then, of course, the same concept goes with the podcast, being able to be on the road and do podcasts with people all over the country or in a certain area. You know, that's always the hard thing about going to NorCal to do podcasts is everybody's so fucking spread out. Like, you'll have cats in Petaluma you want to talk to, and then there'll be dudes in Sacramento, and then guys in, like, San Francisco, and then fucking Fresno, which I don't think Fresno's considered NorCal, but, you know, just all in that area. It's like
that's where Derek's at.
It's hard to go. You can't. You'd have to spend a week there to be able to do what I did when I went to Phoenix a couple years ago. Yeah, and just rented a car, and I was able to do 3 podcasts a day, and I ended up doing like 9 in 3 days. Yeah, 10, something like that. I can't do that in NorCal. I can't do 3 podcasts a day with a 3-hour commute in between guests. You know what I mean? Like it just it wouldn't be as work out as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we've been kind of looking at, that type of stuff. And like I said, me and my wife, we need to create some goals for us as a couple right now.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Goals are important. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not all about the whole grinding and hustling, but that don't mean, like, I've always got my goals. Like, goals are, you still got to have goals. Goals are, you have I don't accomplish shit. I got to have goals. I got to write that shit down. Yeah. I got to do all that, like, or just, I'll get lazy and nothing happens.
Yeah. And I've talked to older people and I've asked them that, you know, and you see somebody older, maybe in their mid to late 40s, maybe in their 50s, and you know, like I feel like goals keep you young. You know what I mean? Having something to look forward to or work towards.
You said older, mid-40s, bro. That's like you.
Calm down. Calm down. Not yet. But
you know, older, I thought you were going to be like 70s.
No, 80s. I mean, like when you still have enough life in you to actually make things happen.
Yeah.
You know, like I understand, like you're 65, you probably don't have, you don't have the health that you need to be able to, pursue, certain goals. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like until then, you probably should. And you should try to hold some, like whether they're relationship goals or individual goals or, learn how to do this goals, all that shit, man. Like, I don't know, just something.
Yeah.
I asked my mom this once. I was like, hey, because she has a decent 401k now. She can afford to go on a vacation. Like, she has zero desire to do anything. And I don't fault her for it. It just blows my mind that some people they don't have anything they want. They don't, you know what I mean?
Well, how many people never left their hometown, never left their home state, shit like that? Blows my mind.
Yeah.
I've always loved traveling.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Maybe I don't know anybody our age or in our generation that kind of doesn't have some type of goal or wish or dream, if that makes sense. But I feel like it's something that a lot of older generations probably don't. You know what I mean? Like, they probably just like, fuck it, I just want to die. You know what I mean?
I don't know about all that, man.
Or not die. I just want to fucking get by and not struggle and die easy. You know what I mean? Without any worries and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm just speculating, basically.
I feel like people used to travel and had goals and stuff.
Yeah, I know they do, but I mean, obviously, there's definitely like.
I'm sure maybe you get older, your goals just change.
Yeah.
Maybe they're less obvious. Older people also don't talk about their goals as much. They're a little bit more
they don't
to
do
themselves.
Podcasts.
Yeah.
They don't bear all.
Yeah. They don't throw it. They don't throw it all out to the world.
Yeah, I could see that. But like doing just work, it's a scary thing. But like I said, we've kind of talked about a lot of those different things, and I don't know. How do you think about like all the people that have or were trying to go to like MMI to learn how to work on bikes? And I know a lot of people that are quitting dealership jobs because there's no growth. Yeah. There's no opportunity to go to do more than what they're doing now. Like
a lot of the dealerships are being more corporate now, so it's like.
Well, I do know we're going to throw a plug in here. I do know that Texas Performance Motorcycle is looking for a tech, and from what I hear, anywhere on the spectrum, pay determined on experience.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to get into this and at least know something, or you're whatever they call it, a master tech, whatever, you know, from what I talked about, Mark, he needs somebody in there. And
he's always needs somebody.
Yeah, well, it seems like he's ready. He's made a couple posts about it. Yeah. So we're going to plug him real quick that if you already know how to wrench, very experienced, or maybe you're just a pretty decent experience, I think he's got a position for whoever.
Yeah. So
you could hit him up. Austin's not a bad place to live. That's the only part of Texas that has good riding.
And you got to pay for it.
You do have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, if I was going to work in a shop, if I went the motorcycle route instead of car route, I think I actually told Mark this too when I was down there recently. I mean, he's one of the only shops I would go work at. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't, because I'm not a master tech. Like, I mean, I do all my own work, but I definitely don't know if I do it right. Like, I do it good enough that it works. But if I was to get in the shop, I'd want to make sure I was doing everything 100% right. And Mark's about the only person. That's about the only shop I feel I've learned that kind of stuff.
It's different working on your own stuff compared to someone else's where now.
Yeah, where I can put it together and I'm like, there's a good chance it's going to work. If not, I'll find out real quick it's not going to work, and then I'll fix it. Where if you're in a shop, at least me, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, especially at work. Like when I was welding, I knew all my shit was right, and so getting into mechanics, like I wouldn't want to work in a shop and then send something out and if it's not right. So, getting to work with Mark, I feel like would be a place where you could learn to make sure you're doing everything right, because I know he is definitely anal about all that stuff. So
yeah, that's what when he posted that out that he was looking for work, I was like, oh, okay. That was a good idea for some of these newer guys to come in. Maybe that not necessarily like just really green, but, you know, they have a little bit of experience. Because, I mean, I could see that he'll hire someone that's, as long as they're competent.
Yeah, as long as he could trust their work, I would think, you know, or like trust that they'll listen to him. Yeah. And, no, I mean, like I said, if he was closer, I would have thought about going that direction, but he's not. That's 3 hours away, and I'm not moving to Austin because, like I said, if I was going to move, it's going to be Tennessee or something. But no, I wanted to throw that out there on this, so anyone looking knows. I know he says he's willing to pay the right money for someone who knows what they're doing too. So anyone out there listening, trying to get out the corporate world of Harley and get into a good independent shop, there's a spot for you.
Yeah. And he's got plenty of work, so you'll have stuff to do. Plus, you get to learn from him and probably get to learn how to ride like him, too.
True. And, yeah, he's got good riding right out his front door, so.
Yeah, he does. Real good spot there.
And Jace is back.
Been trying to drink more water, man.
Drink more water.
I tried to do a diet.
Yeah.
And I did good on it for a week. And I didn't drink. And then I decided to have one drink as a cheat day, and that's been a week straight I've been drinking.
When are you going to do the hard 75?
Dude,
Cody hold on. Shout out to Cody Childress because I have seen a lot of people do the hard 75 so far. Like, that shit really popped off this year. I'd say at least 10, 15 people I've seen do it. This is the only motherfucker I've seen with daily updates, actual, like, you know, shirtless pictures and everything.
And you see
this
a change.
Motherfucker turned into a monster in 75 days. Well, really, he did in probably like 35. But that shit was exciting to watch.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
I actually called him and we talked a little bit, like probably around 60, maybe 50 something days, just to catch up. We haven't talked in a while, and that was inspiring, you know, because he was doing that right whenever we were headed to Sturgis, basically, is when he started. I think it was late June or July, and I started noticing his posts, and some people were saying like they don't really like the whole virtue signaling of fucking like, we don't want to see your posts all the time about this shit, but I think that's the point of the post. It's to motivate you to keep you doing, to be held accountable in a sense for
it helps. Well, what's weird is I actually mentioned this to Nick and Dusty the other day. I'm like, you could sit here. I'll use you as an example. You could post a picture of your bike every day.
Yeah.
For fucking 3 months, right? 2 months, 75 days, whatever.
Yeah.
Another picture of your bike at this angle or this little detail that you made. You know, you made this little part. Whatever. Nobody bats an eye. You post a picture about building yourself better for like 2 days straight, and people are like, this motherfucker's just full of himself, you know, where they want to talk shit and stuff. And it's like, why is that? So you can...
That's stupid.
It kind of is. I mean, I don't know. Like, that shit was motivating to me. Like, I commented on numerous of his posts. I told him, like, a couple times I was at the gym, and, I mean, I was halfway through the workout. I was just thinking about calling it quits and stuff. And I opened up my Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and I see Cody out there all like this and everything. And I'm like, okay, never mind. I'm going to finish this motherfucker right now because this dude's getting it.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
I thought it was just cool. I mean, either you can be motivated or you can hate on shit. Everything you see. You see a badass bike. You see someone working out. Those are your two options.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
You're making that choice. Are you going to choose to hate on it or are you going to choose to be motivated by that dude who just built that sick bike or who's working out? I mean, that's your choice.
I think people may be inflated and think, okay, well, he's trying to be, I don't know, not Cody, not specifically him. I'm not talking about that anymore. People that post themselves a lot. Like, it went from a while where, like, I used to have no problem posting a selfie of myself. No problem.
Well, everyone wants to see it, Jason.
You just told me people did.
I just said it again. I just said everyone wants to see it, Jace.
I thought you said nobody wants to see it.
No, I said everyone wants to see it.
Well, I like my personal Instagram, right? I haven't posted on there one thing in almost 2 months. The whole like putting your, I don't know, like I don't really care to put myself out there. I look at social media so much as networking and work now that I don't really like even putting that much of my personal life out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, obviously I want to lose weight. I want to get in a healthy regimen, things like that, and get a handle on. I don't think I have a bad alcohol habit. Like, I'm not like a get raging drunk every day kind of guy, but I'll have a drink. You know what I'm saying? And then it doesn't help that when you do a lot of these podcasts and it's so much funner, so much looser to have a couple drinks on it. And then sometimes those drinks are the difference between us wrapping up a good conversation in 2 hours or 4.
Yeah. And
we fucking sound like a broken record saying the same shit over and over again. But I don't know.
The Hard 75.
I thought about it. I want to get. I guess I want to get the actual book that they have for it or whatever.
Well, what you really should do is just go podcast with Cody.
We talked about it.
Ain't even that far.
He needs to come here. He's in Texas, man. I can't. I didn't build this shit to fucking go drive to somebody in Texas to go.
That's what I said earlier.
Okay, Cody. You just got called out. I don't know if you're listening.
Me and him talked about it. He's definitely.
Yeah, Cody, but he just got called out live.
Yeah, he's got to come now.
Can young Jamie over here post a picture of Cody?
Can you pull up his Instagram on the deal?
Get this back on.
I wasn't sure if we were that technically advanced or where we could do that.
Yeah, we can. Sax is a little quicker at it. He's ready, but Matt's red band basically.
Red band.
But no,
what? Like, well, you were talking about like not you, Mike. You were saying not doing all your memes and stuff. I've slacked off on that for over a year now. I used to do that with our group chats, mainly on Jay's.
Yeah. So. I had to stop posting pictures because you'd find the worst shots of me. It's always in a tagged photo, and you use that as a meme.
Oh yeah,
like, ooh, looks like a horse and shit. But no, he's been killing it, and that was really motivational. And I'm actually super interested in it because I actually do want to get back in the gym and work out and all that stuff. It's just, man, this is my excuse, right?
I'm not sure, but I think your brother might be able to help you. I think he goes to the gym.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's with Jesse. It's weird. Jesse is, he works at a gym now. He's taking his classes to be a personal trainer. He's working at a gym, helping sell packages for personal training. And he's taken that career path, and I'm super stoked for him. Right. I don't know that. I think that the way me and his relationship is, I don't know that like.
You could listen to him? No,
I can listen to him. I know that I can. I just think that there's always going to be a...
Yeah, but is this motherfucker pushing me as revenge or...
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's always going to be like a little bit of tension between the two of us just because, we had a rough road the last year and a half. So just a little bit of tension. It's like seeing him sparingly makes it to where like it doesn't trigger shit. You know what I'm saying? Because like... Anybody else in the world, you could fuck up all the time, Mike, and I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
We got Cody live.
There it is.
Look at this motherfucker.
God damn, Cody.
You could go back to probably like day 68 or something, and I commented saying, I don't think I've ever been so excited every day to see a dude shirtless on the internet.
He lost some serious weight. Like, I think he said he went from 270 to 235 or something like that.
And
or 225.
Put on a shit ton of muscle.
Yeah, it's muscle. He's slender and... Looks like fucking Cameron Haynes up there.
This motherfucker right here.
He's gonna start bow hunting now. No, that's awesome.
That should motivate everyone right there. Look at that. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely want to look into doing that. It'd be fun. Just to get back fucking feeling good. You know what I mean? Like that. You know how it feels when you go work out. You know what I'm saying? It's so hard. It's so crazy that. I know that if I do this, I'll feel better afterwards, but that there's just not that I don't have that dopamine hit to make me want to go do it.
You just gotta do it.
I know.
I started going like a year ago, and I feel so much better just going back to the gym again.
Yeah, you posted a picture recently too about like your weight loss and shit that you've had or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I don't post much about that just because I don't know. I haven't posted much about anything lately. But yeah, no, I mean I go every other day now. It's just
that's cool.
I don't know. It feels good. I mean, I did most of my life. I mean, I worked out and played sports, and then I don't know. I just got too into bikes that everything else got put on the back burner. So
See,
trying to find more balance in life, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly the same thing. And one thing that I was dealing with, or I've been talking with all my friends, is that our deals went from like giddy up. The first time I went with you, that first giddy up, it was like 10 of us around a fire, just everybody talking. And then we started to camp out, and it was like 20 or 30. I think it was like 50 people the first time. Still felt small. Like you could sit around the campfire and you can listen to.
I feel small last time.
No, dude, it's huge now. And well, that's how everything has become. The camp out's huge. It's still fun. It's still something that everybody should make an attempt to come to for that experience of traveling with your friends to something you're going to be fucking welcome with open arms to. But all the events that we go to now are like these big fucking massive raging parties. Like, I just want to sit around a fire and fucking sip a drink, just dive into some conversations and
fame is hard.
You know what?
Fame's hard, man.
No,
Jace is showing up, man. Everybody's showing up.
No, it's not. It's not me. It's just it's everything around what I'm a part of. You know, it's not me. It's all these rad motherfuckers get together, and it's like, you know, we've all got pent up. Like, I haven't seen you in a while. Like, let's go. Instead of like, man, let's just go fucking sit around a fire and just chill.
Well, like at the last camp out, like, it wasn't as bad, I felt like, but you still get these big groups that are separated. So you got to go spend time with friends over here and then go spend time with friends over here. And
that's how it's going to be now. Like, we've always tried to push people to be at that one big fire, and there's still going to be a lot of people there, but it's really hard to be kind of calm and chill around there, because they were doing fucking like beer bongs, and there was a lot of shit, crazy shit. You know, Jaden's old lady's out there fucking cooking meatballs, and everybody's running back and forth trying to get meatballs, and it's
people are walking around with bags of shrooms everywhere.
Allegedly.
But
there's there's that aspect where you it's just, you know, like we've been talking about doing like a small like invite only type camp thing. Not invite, like just us, just friends.
Just don't post about it and nobody would know.
It doesn't have to be publicized, you know what I'm saying? Which I think anybody can do that, and that's what's fun about it. But the camp out's good for people that want to create a network of friends across the country. You know what I mean, realistically. And it's a great experience. Like, if you're coming from somewhere and you plan that trip, like all the dudes in NorCal that rode with Joe down there, like those dudes are all like solid homies now and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, riding together with dudes and homies is gonna really stick out in life and, you know, never go away, if you will.
It's definitely become a destination event kind of thing.
When's the next one?
May 5th.
Are you doing one a year or two a year?
One
a year.
Down south camp out is Craig's, our buddy Craig.
Yeah.
That's his, you know.
That's the one coming up like next week, right?
Yeah. And it's been a really, really tough year with all the amount of stuff traveling. You know, our group that we do our 2-week trip every year, and then Sturgis is kind of every year thing, and then it's just been tough. Then last year I had all the energy in the world to go and do that camp out, and this time I don't. So, but I'm still going because I don't want to miss it. You know, a lot of good friends down there. But that's why I'm driving. I'm just gonna go down there, take my camera. I'm gonna try to be more focused on photographing.
Shit, you could fly to Orlando for stupid cheap.
Yeah, but all my gear is a lot, and then the amount of money. So the amount of money it costs to get a plane ticket and then get a vehicle, you're in the same boat if you just fucking drive, because they're round trip from here to there, $700-800 driving.
Oh, driving. Okay, I thought you were talking about flying.
Flying. Maybe a $400 flight, and then you get a vehicle for 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the same boat. And then if I have to get all this extra equipment, like if I'm taking a fucking RT fairing, and
you need friends with more bikes. That's the problem.
What do you mean?
You just fly in and ride someone's bike.
I don't want to ride. I want to not ride. Like, I want to focus on all the other shit that's been taking a back seat while I've been riding all over the country for the last 6 months. And, you know, family, photography, work, not more important than everything.
Well,
but
now you can work on helmets again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, everything's kind of made available to work at the same time. So it's been I'm just ready to get into the swing of it. I want to see progress of my own work. And I haven't really finished a lot of projects lately, so I don't know.
Well, I probably got another one coming your way.
So are you gonna build? What are you gonna build? You gonna finish the old school, the original one that we kind of started this podcast on? As you being a fucking invited builder, born free, building
I wasn't
the most hated bike in
People's Champ.
People's Champ. Sorry,
don't want to
the most hated bike almost of all time.
No, I didn't want to do the same bike for a second thing. So
that one's just on the shelf. Mm-hmm. So what are you gonna do? What's the direction?
I'm redoing my 94 FXLR that was in the trailer.
The chrome one? They have like chrome wheels and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I was already working on that one. And then when that came up, because I was kind of just putting that back together, kind of like it was, just a little better.
Yeah.
But then when that happened, I decided it's got to be like a whole frame up thing. So everything's just about going to be different.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Still doing flames?
No. We'll have to talk afterwards about paint because I've got a couple ideas. I got to run by somebody who actually knows how shit works, you know, because paint's not my specialty. I just got ideas, and sometimes it's like a tattoo where you might go to it and be like, no, that's going to look horrible as a tattoo. So I got ideas. You might be like, no.
I got a good idea. I'll do a real fire.
Yeah, dude. I was really thinking real fire, dude. Like a badass dragon.
You know what's crazy is like I'm doing that real fire helmet for a homie right now, and it's fucking cool. Like I know I've talked so much. I wouldn't say shit, but I've told people how simple it is to do.
But hard to do doesn't always make it better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a traditional flame job is not hard to do, and I'll tell you what, like our most liked helmets that we've painted in ever have been these flames we've been doing this year.
I remember when I had to twist your arm to get to do me a flame job, and now flame jobs are everywhere now.
You get a flame.
Well, it got to a point where like when people want like my style of graphics, there's a bottleneck with me figuring out an idea.
Yeah, and
so the flames. That's a fluid thing. I don't have to draw that out first. I just, I can run with it, But even like the flames have evolved. Like, I think my wife's helmet was one of the first ones I flamed out. And it's just got like longer licks. And then now I got it down on the Ghost Bandits and shit that, man, it just fucking sits right. It's good balance. It doesn't look uniform. It looks like it's dialed. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Sounds like it.
Well, everybody wanted those old shitty-ass chopper flames.
Yeah. No, well, see, the thing is, I'm building a bike now that's going to be done that's for a show late August of next year.
Yeah. You got all the time in the world.
Well, all the time in the world. And also, he's preferring that it's the first thing that, like, everyone brings their bike to, right?
Yeah,
like both sides. Like, they don't want you to finish it in March, take it to every show, and then like, that's, like, the last show. Like, they'd rather you debut it there. So,
how is that going to work, though? And I'm not trying to talk shit. I just want to be a little constructive criticism. For those guys that actually build, like, the vintage technologies, those guys that build some pretty wild shit, it makes more sense for them to unveil pretty wild shit at more publicized events like Born Free or
I can't speak
maybe even
on
Sturgis.
Any of those people. But I can say from what I heard from this past year and what they're looking at for this year or this next year and the years coming, I think this show is going to be not like Sturgis. Sturgis is Sturgis. But it's going to be a very big thing moving forward. And
we're talking Virginia City, just outside of Reno, right?
Yeah. It's the Virginia City Roundup. And, they got 10 chopper builders and 10 FXR builders. And, FXR ones, I feel like it's a lot of big names. But at least for me, there's less excitement on, like, whether it's FXRs, performance bikes. There's only so much, compared to choppers. But as far as the chopper lineup goes, half of those guys are, like, Born Free winners, not just, like, invited builders. So it's a pretty It's a pretty heavy lineup.
You got
right
Jason
there.
Williams, Sacred Steel dude. Is it Ryan Grossman, the guy from 21 Days?
And
Vintage Technologies.
Yeah.
Who else is on there?
I forget who's on the list, but I mean, it's all.
I guess
all
TBJ,
pretty heavy hitters.
he builds choppers too.
Yeah, but he's on the FXR side.
He's on the FXR side?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, they got it separated like that?
Yeah. There's 10 chopper guys, 10 FXR guys.
Think he can do that? I've only ever seen him build Sportsters.
Oh. I know what his plan was before he became one of the FXR builders for this bike. And it was pretty insane. So I only feel like he's going to take it another step, if anything. Yeah. And I'm very excited to see.
He's supposed to be coming here to do the podcast soon. He was supposed to come here on the way back from Indian Larry Block party, but some issues that he ran into and couldn't make it. But
and did you see? This might be a topic for this. Did you see what Action Jackson is building for that show? He's one of the FXR builders.
The one he's building, the one with the Pan America motor in it.
Yeah,
right? That's gonna be interesting.
That is gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see if he pulls it off.
Now,
I'm really hoping he does, but that's a lot of work.
You want to know what FXR really does? Which one? If I had the money and the time to do an FXR, the thing that is the most appealing to me right now is the M8 FXR.
Yeah,
and only because like I rely so much on reliability to get to point A to point B that having that motor would be a better thing for me. And I know that everybody is like, oh well, if you just take care of it and you fucking let it warm up and blah blah blah. It's like, bro. Like, they're old bikes, man. It doesn't matter how fucking new everything is. You can still have issues.
Yeah, I mean, you can. But on the other side, our buddy Casey stopped by. He just moved from the Bay Area to Florida, and he stopped by on his way. He's got a 88 RT that he had OFP Cycles build for him. Mm-hmm. They're good friends. And he said he's got something, 20,000 miles on it since the rebuild and hasn't touched a single bolt on the bike, just oil change and tires.
Like I said, it can be done. But
it can be done. I feel like that's when you're paying the right professional to do the job.
So I always look at it like this,
just
too.
Slapping them together.
I have a tendency to, when I do a trip, I usually bang out 1,000 miles, probably both there and back. If it's a solo trip and I'm doing it for work, like podcasts, I did 2 iron butts on the way to California this year.
You get your patches?
Nah, I'm too cool for that. But I mean, what happens is I have to. I'm really hard on the bikes, like or the motors at least, like smashing out 1,000 miles in way less time because I'm trying to get somewhere to do a podcast or meet up with some friends or something like that. So. I'm not saying that the FXRs can't be reliable and do things like that because, I mean, we all know dudes that smash these things all across the country. The only thing is that when I have a schedule, meaning that I have a podcast with Arlen S. at this time, I can't be fucking around with goddamn primary gaskets and leaky shit like that that's causing me to not be able to ride.
You ready for a gold wing?
Maybe. No, I'm
Dude,
not.
Did you? I'm sure you didn't. But just like a week or two ago, dude set a new record for whatever they call it, the Cannonball, like coast to coast. Like not the Cannonball, like where they do the old bikes. Yeah. He just did. This just has to be. I mean, more people need to know about this dude.
Yeah.
You probably Google it and find it. But he did. It was like 2,800 miles coast to coast.
Yeah.
In under 33 hours and smashed the previous record.
Damn. 33 hours?
Under 33 hours, coast to coast.
How the fuck did he do that?
On a $4,000 motorcycle. He bought an old, like, Honda, not a Goldwing, or it might have been like a Yamaha, like one of those big touring bikes,
Metrics,
Metric touring bikes. It was like a 2004 something. He bought it for $4,000 and just smashed 2,800 miles in 32 hours and something.
Did you hear about the dude
insane.
that's doing 100,000 miles in 100 days? Mm-mm. He's based out of Texas here. It goes by like Hops or something like that. Or I've talked about him before. I'm gonna have him on the podcast when he gets done with this trip. But yeah,
that's ambitious.
100,000 miles in 100 days.
It's pretty ambitious. How far along is he?
81. He was at 81 days and 81,000 miles.
Really?
Whenever I reached out to him.
This guy.
Look at this guy.
Coast to coast under 23 hours.
Yeah.
Or 33 hours. Wait, go back up.
Oh, yeah, you're on a delay.
Oh, sorry. Fucking delays. I need like another TV so I can see the actual like camera.
New York to California in 32 hours and 52 minutes. Riding the 2014 Yamaha.
Oh, 2014, not 2004. Yeah. That's nuts, though.
2,800 miles.
That's insane.
That's pretty good.
That's
33 hours.
Less than a day and a half.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. Yeah, your body's got to be fucking beat.
Yeah. No, I saw it the other day, and I was like, dude, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I could put down some miles. No way.
It's just like we said earlier. We were talking about the inmates and who has the most miles. Dude, we all talk on this podcast about like smashing miles, but there's fucking dudes out there that.
Well, like I said, that dude who stopped by, he put those 15,000 miles on like the last year and a half on that FXR.
Yeah.
He don't post shit online.
Yeah.
He doesn't post anything. He's got one of the cleanest RTs. He stops at my house. You know how far away this is from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from being dirty, there's not a drop of oil on it, nothing. I mean, this is like a mint bike, but
yeah.
I don't even think he's got a picture of it on his Instagram, and I mean, shit. And then, Chopper Jesus, right?
Yeah.
And he's moving from the Bay Area to Florida, stopped by like 2 days later, and the same thing, just both of them were just riding cross country, and same thing, he don't post anything. He said he's got like 25,000 miles already this year on his bike.
Yeah.
But same thing, doesn't post a thing on Instagram.
Well, that's, for me, that's where it gets hard because my livelihood is posting shit on Instagram.
No, I get that. I'm just saying, like, there's just always dudes with crazy bikes or whatever, or doing crazy miles who just do it.
And I mean
to do it.
Yeah,
you don't
like
even
these
know
guys
about
are just doing it to do it, right? And I know so many people that are older, that have the time off now to go just be gone for 2 months, and just go do thousands of miles. And like this guy that's doing it, the 100,000 miles in 100 days, I think he's doing it in alignment with some type of charity that he's working with. I don't know all the details, but super. I got a million fucking questions for this dude, and
That's insane that he's at, because when you said that, I was like, yeah, we'll see if he actually does it. Well, I was thinking, when you say he's at 81 already, I'm like, holy shit.
I mean, I
don't even know how you do that.
I mean, bike maintenance,
just
tires.
There's so many things.
There's so many things that, like, if you have one day you can't ride, you have to make up 1,000 miles over the course of at least, you're gonna have to at least put like 1,500 miles a day, two of them in a row.
There's so many
variables.
There's just so many things I don't understand how that could. I wouldn't think that was very doable. He's really at 81 and 81,000 miles.
Man, hold up! I gotta find this fucking thing. His Instagram, it's insane.
Because I'm baffled by that one. What's he doing it on?
A new bagger. Hops Adventures. It goes by Hops_Adventures on Instagram. He has like this gas tank that's on the back of his bike.
Yeah.
That it siphons in, so he doesn't have to stop.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys. The chopper guys did that when they used to do the Stampede.
And he was over at Suspension by Smarty getting some Olins put on the rear, or getting them tuned or something like that. And
avid long distance motorcycle rider, I'd say so.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, he's like, I don't know. I just, all the places he's traveling to, like there's stories there.
It'd be funnier if he was just doing the same 1,000-mile loop every day.
Yeah, that would fucking suck, dude. I'm like, God damn, you almost had me.
It'd be funny though.
This guy.
Yeah. I'm really stoked to talk to him though, man. I can't wait.
Was that his route?
You say he's based out of Texas?
No, that's just one of the routes he did. I mean, 100,000 miles. I mean,
that's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, if coast to coast is 28 at a pretty short distance, then you're pretty much gonna have to ride a lot of shit a lot of times. But yeah,
so many miles, dude. And then like you just went through a whole bike in 100 days.
Oh, yeah,
Yep. But it's fucking cool, man. Like, I'm glad people are doing that shit. And I'm glad that he's posting about it. Because otherwise, I mean...
Who would know?
Yeah, who would know? And I mean, it doesn't matter who knows, right? Like, I get that point, but that's inspiring to me. Just like Cody Childress posting his progress with his 75 hard, that shit inspires me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to see that. He's probably seen shit now that I would never have thought to, Like,
dude, I'd be so fuzzy after 81 days.
Yeah, like the ears just kind of tingling and shit.
Oh, he's for sure wearing earplugs.
Yeah, he has to. Yeah, he has to. He has like a, they like all kinds of cushions and shit on his seat. So it's like it's called Wild Ass motorcycle air cushion. He's got a backrest. His bike's fucking dialed. July 16th, he bought this bike.
It's a brand new bike?
Brand new bike.
Are they going to replace it when he gets done?
If they were smart. But at the same
Probably
time,
not.
like, probably not. I mean, not to talk shit about this dude or anything, but there is currency with followers and exposure. When you have the exposure, like, if Carrie Hart did some shit like that, then fuck yeah, he's going to get 3 new bikes.
There's a shot of his bike. Has a tank on there and everything.
Yeah, on the back seat deal. So, I mean, unfortunately, like, when you're doing these type of things, when you have more areas of exposure, whether it's a YouTube channel, Instagram, stuff like that, it makes it more beneficial for brands to give him a bike or give him things or whatever. You know what I mean? Not to say that some brand's not going to help out with tires, just to help him do something cool, but a small business or what benefit is it for certain brands to give him something when nobody in the world is going to know? It's like, that's what sponsorships are. It's the whole hey, watch me feed the homeless, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's cool. I'm super excited to talk to this guy. And
you said he's based out of Texas.
I think he's based out of like Seguin. How do you say Seguin?
I know the city you're talking about.
Outside of San Antonio, I believe.
Nothing in Texas is pronounced the way it looks.
Yeah. Waco Springs.
Nobody will know.
But no, I mean, there's a lot of dudes out there doing shit like that, And I think I kind of like it that he's not blasting some over the top charity shit all the time, because that gets a little old. Like,
I know.
You know what I mean?
Say that,
Like, we get it.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say it, but it's just like, calm down, bro. Like, we get it. You're fucking doing great things for the world. You know what I mean? So it gets more annoying than like seeing someone do workout stuff. I don't know. It gets up there.
I know what you mean.
Shit, what else you got?
I don't know, man. I think that's about it, I guess.
We can wrap up in a decent hour finally.
Yeah.
Well, no, I thought it was cool, man. I want to also say, like, one thing, and we can kind of end on this note, but I've been trying to, when I started this podcast, it was really over you saying, like, Jace, you should do a podcast, right? It was kind of like, yeah, I kind of kicked around the idea, but I never really acted on it. And it's like, you encouraged me to do it, and it's been fucking awesome. I've grown so much talking and meeting all these people and things like that. But
the whole podcast has grown.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And, I've also tried to take that same kind of thing to try to help my friends when you see something in somebody that maybe, like that word of encouragement, like, man, like, you'd be good at doing videos, or you'd be good at, you have a great personality, but, it's trying to encourage people to try new shit. You know what I mean? And so that's one thing I've been trying to do. And it was based off like what you did for me to push and do this podcast. So thank you for that.
Oh, yeah. Glad you did, man.
Yeah, it's been helpful.
You seem to get shit done when you want to do shit.
Yeah, it's,
I mean, this shit's turned into a pretty big thing.
I think so. I feel
Aren't
like
you like top 10 something?
The charts, they fluctuate. It's like waves. One moment you're number 1 and the next you're 47. You know what I mean? So
he knows exactly what it is.
He I know. No, it was.
So it's not good right now, is what you're saying?
I actually don't know.
No, I was just thinking that he's just always full of himself.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, man, but I never looked at that stuff, and then some people actually showed it to me, and then it became like that follower number thing where I kept looking at it all the time, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm doing good. And I was like, no, like, that doesn't affect the way the podcast is, so it's not pointing. And I'm not good at like, it's irrelevant,
Yeah, it's irrelevant. It's not going to change anything. I mean, you're going to have the followers.
If people like it, they're going to listen to it, regardless of if it's a top 10 podcast or whatever. Yeah. It just might help people that are looking for a podcast to listen to find it and be more willing to give it a try. I mean, a podcast is a hard thing to try for some people.
This shit's big enough now that we can hype some stupid stuff and people will follow it, right?
Yeah. What do you want to hype up?
I don't know, man. I got Windshield Wednesday going all by myself, so imagine what we could do with this.
Well, we did get Montucky pretty hyped up.
Yeah.
And that happened, and then
I'm talking about like some real silly bike mods, and we just start pumping that shit and just watch people do it.
Are tassels back in?
Dude, you want to bring tassels back?
Hey, can we cut this part out and then we'll just do that low key? We'll try to start slowly building it, and then we'll just watch everybody who gets in on it.
Get the get back whips and bring those out.
Yeah, get back whips and tassels.
Let's go real club style right now.
That's Texas
club style.
Texas club style.
You know, some people don't even know about get back whips outside of Texas.
That's
like I don't think they did that shit in California.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's definitely a Texas thing.
Because even though we have guns here, I feel like California, you would get shot more often if you had that.
I just like everyone who acts like they actually use that thing. Like,
you know how hard it is to try to swing a rope.
And I feel like if anyone tried to swing a rope at me while I'm driving, I'm just going to turn my steering wheel. And you dented my car, and I ran you off the road.
Yeah, fuck you.
I don't see you winning that one.
What's that video of the guy that
kicked the car?
Yeah. And it flipped and goes sideways, and he just took off, and it took like a month to find the guy on the bike.
That was pretty funny.
That actually happened on I think it was on the 5 going down from where Britta, my wife, is from. Where like the Six Flags and shit back down into like L.A., like the Valley, wherever the fuck that area is. I'm probably butchering it, but it's it's wild. That's crazy that shit happened, and it happened. I remember when it happened.
I love that this shit gets on video now. Everything gets on fucking video now.
Yeah, it's like fucking wild, man.
Can't get away with anything now.
Hey, let's go be an outlaw biker club and try not to be put on video. Does that work anymore either? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Can't do anything these days.
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks, Mike. You're just Mike Pantazzi now. What's up with that? Someone stole your FXR Mike name?
Oh, they did immediately.
Oh, that's bullshit.
You should have sold it.
Should we? That's what we should do. We should get everybody listening to this podcast to harass whoever got it to give it back.
I don't.
Come on, man. Let's just take something
but
back.
But I'm not even just FXRs. That's the problem. I was just being lazy, picking a name lazily, and then you get like cast as like you're only allowed to like this one thing. Like same thing with the Gold Wings. Like I did it as a joke, and I didn't even plan to stay with it. It just pissed so many people off. Like I just was so surprised so many grown men got mad that I put Gold Wing Mike that I felt I couldn't change it. Yeah. But then
like all the girls would probably be like, "Oh, that's a cute name," and then all the guys are like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
And it's just I don't know. I don't like the way it just becomes
tribal. Everybody's so tribal with everything.
Yeah, they make it seem like it's like a whole identity. It's like I mean, we all joke. Everyone who got Gold Wings now, like it's been a year and a half now, and like still like you post anything not Goldwing, like me or Dusty or something, somebody's gonna mention, "Oh, what doesn't look like a Goldwing to me," or it's like, "Oh, bro, that's fucking hilarious." Like, dude, you're the funniest person I know.
Well, the same thing that makes like a lot of the topics that we talk about in this podcast, it helps people. Man, it fucking sucks to say this, so I'm sorry if this is you, but it helps some people create an identity for themselves. When we're like, no trailers, we ride everywhere. That's easy to jump on board and be that way. So, and I still think that's probably the best way to be a biker is to just go out and be on the road. But, obviously now we're going into it where we had a fucking couple of minute conversation as to why maybe trailers have a place, and it fucks up the world of the people that just made their whole identity this.
Make your identity yourself.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like everybody's not. I get it. Yourself, right? We get it. A lot of people do, but I think more people are not themselves than they meet the eye.
They look
at
people for inspiration, and then when all of a sudden there's that change, it's unsettling. It will like.
I don't want to say that's bad. I think that we're all.
I can't speak for Jace, but please don't look to me for. Anything important.
I think there's nothing wrong with finding something that inspires you, that makes you want to do things or try new shit or think completely differently. But man, like don't be married to anything forever.
No.
You know what I mean? Like. When it makes sense to you, let it make sense to you, but don't count out the fact that it doesn't make sense to everybody else. And I'm think
about this. If you get married to something, you might still like fat tire choppers.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Imagine being married to that and you're living in 2021 still thinking that shit's cool. I mean, and those guys are out there. That could be you. So You know, when you get too married to any one thing, performance bagger, FXR, that could be you, man. That could be you in 10 years.
Yep, and that's 100% it, and that's why I feel like everybody should enjoy
whatever the fuck you enjoy.
Yeah, and if you like something now, enjoy it now, because now doesn't always last. You know, how many fucking people were talking about how FXRs suck now because they cost so much, it wasn't like it was back then. And then everybody's like, well, it's just like the whole OG, whether it was OG FXR guy or OG performance bagger guy. Who fucking cares? Who really does? There's a guy that he's probably going to comment on this in a couple of days from like NorCal that constantly listens to all my podcasts and it tries to educate me on NorCal fucking etiquette as if I've never had a big fucking part of my life living up there and knowing all these people. So it's super strange. Like his identity now is to prove.
I can't speak for the performance bagger side, but I know nobody I know who bought an FXR new calls themselves OG.
Yeah.
All the people who call themselves OG bought them in like 2010, 2014. Like around when I did, right before they popped off. They're like, oh, I'm an OG FXR guy. Nobody who bought one new gives a fuck.
I don't think anybody's allowed to. I don't think anybody. It's like a nickname. You can't give it to yourself, right?
Yeah.
But I think where we fucked up, me included, is when we were having that performance bagger conversation. We were, I think, more trying to highlight our involvement with helping it grow, and either I know definitely I'm probably worded it in a way, or even maybe bluntly said it that yeah, maybe I was one of the first. You know what I mean? And I definitely don't mean that. I know all the chain of command. I know I even know who we think the first guy was to put T-bars on a fucking bagger in 04. You know, like we've gone that far down the rabbit hole, right? But it doesn't fucking matter, man. Like at the end of the day, like this podcast is about working out ideas, seeing how people are, getting an idea for what it's like to be a biker in Texas or in California or ride to and from. And it's like, I don't give a shit about who's the first. No. It's like nobody does. There's no fucking trophy or award or.
Well, just like with like the whole performance bagger thing, there are people that have different opinions on what a performance bagger is.
We should hear Jason's.
Yeah, we should.
I wish
I could
that.
zoom in on your face right now.
I'm over that.
No, but it's like, because there's like people like my wife's uncle, before he passed away, I told him like, hey, talking about performance baggers, and he was like, oh yeah, I did that when I was younger. And because he grew up riding Harleys, and I was like, oh yeah, he was like, yeah, I was doing wheelies like in third gear because I had this crazy ass motor. And I was like, well, that's a little bit different. That's just all motor. He was like, well, I like to ride it. And I was like,
yeah. So it was I fucked up whenever I tried to attach some type of style to it that kind of separated it from all the other high horsepower, high performing motorcycles. And you know, like it didn't work.
Well, so like I think that it's like just keep an open mind, like how we were talking about performance baggers. Like now, it's a certain style for the present day performance bagger that we just have different opinions on, like whether certain things go with it or not. But there's people back in the day that thought that their baggers were performance baggers.
I don't think they did. Like, even the guys that are being like tagged as the guys that this middleman is trying to say they don't give a two fucks about what the bike is called. And that's where I'm saying that I fucked up, where I was, it made some good content on a podcast, so you're welcome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, for that. But at the same time, like, I don't care, man. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Who cares, right?
I definitely don't.
Just ride your bike.
Like I said, it was a fun
trailer it.
It was a conversation that needed to happen, but unfortunately, it's so decisive and so tribal that there's no one way the outcome's going to work for everybody.
Yeah, you can't please everybody, but you can just explain to people. Just keep that open mind and just, I don't know, be respectful. Now
I like the fact that whenever I was talking about it, my friends from NorCal that actually knew certain things, they called me and talked to me about it in a very respectable way. They didn't fucking just try to do a big blast post and comment and just try to make it like a public outcry of like, I know more than you and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You can't just travel to California and think you know everything. And you know what I mean? Like, these dudes called me respectfully and would tell me stories about shit. Like, oh, yeah, there's this one dude, man, it was really badass. I can probably get you in contact with him. That's how you fucking communicate with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not looking to be, like, to wrong me or whatever. They're just like, hey, man, you should know about this. I'm like, cool, I do want to know about that because I didn't know about it. You know what I mean?
There's no escaping haters.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, at the same time, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm just kind of venting now, but it's just one of those deals. Like, all that matters is, like, just ride your bike or trailer it or fucking do whatever you want. Who gives a shit? Just it's fucking whatever you want to do, man. It's motorcycles.
Enjoy life.
There's a lot of crazy shit out there. You ever follow, what's the page that was trying to share your bike a long time ago? Your bike sucks or some shit.
Fuck your bike sucks?
Fuck your bike sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go look at that shit.
That dude's hilarious, though.
Yeah, it's good. I'm not clowning. I'm saying it's a good fucking follow is what I'm trying to say. All right, we can end on that note.
All right.
All right. Mr.
Till next time.
Mr. Pantazzi. Thanks, bud.